All right, guys. On that note, intro. 5 seconds is enough. 5 seconds.
That was like the worst intro known to man, dude.
No, that was
like,
probably the best intro. No one's seen a better one. All you got to say is intro, and then you just hit the button, and then you play it for 5 seconds. That's how I've always seen it done. So,
dude, I was just like, okay, what the hell's going on here?
all right, guys. So this is gonna be a fun one. PJ, how are you doing tonight, man?
Good, man. Really good. Thanks for having me on your live stream. It's an honor and a pleasure. I'm really excited because, man, so many things like happening in terms of the Star Wars universe, which I'm sure we'll talk about it later in the live stream. But I got my Ray. So
you got it?
Yeah, I have it.
Are you gonna give us your thoughts, or are you gonna save those?
No, I didn't unbox it yet. I just literally got it.
Because you got to unbox it for the review, right? Okay.
Yeah, I know it sucks, man. I'm like about to like give up on reviews just so I could like unbox these things like right away. It's like, oh yes, I got it. I got to set up for the review and make it all look nice and pretty, and but for me in terms of unboxings and reviews, I'm kind of going like a different route. I used to be like very like I don't know, maybe it's my OCD with like being a perfectionist. I guess like OCD and perfectionism is that a word?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, why not, right?
It can be for tonight.
Yeah. So it's like sometimes it's like my biggest enemy because I want everything to be perfect for the audience and for the viewers. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it like deters me from, I don't know, completing or putting out a video.
Right.
And I'm like staying away from that now. Like I think my latest unboxing review of the Tusken Raider, I just to be honest, dude, like I was just like pretty quick. Like I just like did everything in like maybe editing and shooting everything. It probably took me an hour and a half.
Wow, that's pretty quick actually.
Yeah, dude, I'm just kind of like in that mode where like, okay, I you know what, it is what it is. I'm just gonna just shoot from the hip and see what happens, and
right,
and I'm actually yeah. So now I'm back to getting into the swing of things because I was away for a little bit for doing reviews. So yeah, I'm gonna go pretty gung ho about it. So
that's awesome, dude. So I'm just gonna address a couple comments we have so far. So comics, dude, he's ready, he's here, dude. Guess who else is here? Mario Cortez, the one and only.
Yeah, man. I can't. Yeah, Mario, what's going on, man?
Dude, the famous beard.
Yeah, actually had him on the Sithcast live stream probably like 3 days ago, and it was a lot of fun. We talked about like a lot of Star Wars things. Hopefully he did watch the Knights of the Old Republic cinematic videos, right? Like,
oh yeah, there's probably like a compilation of all the cinematics in the game.
Yeah, so I just rewatched it recently, probably about like a week or 2 weeks ago. And to be honest, man, like I really really loving the 8K scene that they have. I mean 8K format that they had for the cinematic scenes, yeah.
And look who it is.
Oh my
look
gosh,
at this fashionably late.
Dude, this is like
Optical, you're muted, I think.
He's saying you're muted. You're
Optical,
muted,
you're muted, I think.
Oh, by the way, he was just saying that he just watched the Raya the Last Dragon like for the 10th time.
Dude, it's in theaters, by the way. It's finally in theaters.
Theater?
I need to go see it.
Why? You just saw it for free,
dude. Because Rico Unlimited, guys. And Brian, yeah, I think I can hear you. Optical, you there?
Is it?
There you go.
There
I hear you. Yep.
You sound crisp today, Will. Is it the mic? Perhaps?
I don't know, man. Like I don't know. There's a trendsetter I've heard of that got this mic. His name's Joe Rogan.
Roadcaster?
No, it's the Roadcaster. It's the Roadcaster like 3.0, something like that. But
are you using the Shure? Is that the Shure now?
It's the Shure SM7B. Yeah.
Nice.
Because guys, Optical, you make me spend money, man. The Canon ESOR you're seeing from me, you got me to get that. The Roadcaster Pro. This is what you do, man. You and PJ both.
Buy once or buy twice.
Yeah, exactly, man.
PJ, what kind of mic are you using, by the way?
Listen, this is the legend, the legendary,
Blue Yeti.
Yeah, Blue Yeti, man.
And it's
Right.
in black. Yeah.
It still sounds great, man. But yeah, Optical, how you doing tonight, man?
Fantastic. Just came off work. Goddamn PST, Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah.
Why is it 6 o'clock there? I don't even know why, but
I don't know, man.
Why can't
That's
we have
Chicago
one
life for you.
universal time? It just
I
doesn't
don't know,
make
man.
sense.
Why did the Bears sign Andy Dalton? That's the bigger question.
QB1.
QB1.
The Red Rocket.
By the way, who was that Lacey Bell? Whoever posted that picture, I thought it was like legit. It wasn't legit.
Is that really Eddie Lacy? That can't be Eddie Lacy, right? He can't be that big. I know he's a big boy.
It's not Eddie Lacy, no.
Yeah, I was about to
It's
say.
not Eddie Lacy. No, but, so guys, we are here for a very special reason tonight. And you guys, I don't remember who came up with the idea. It was one of you or Leao or someone. And you guys were like, let's talk the sequel trilogy. Because this is going to be so much fun.
It was definitely not my idea.
It was probably PJ's idea.
No, it wasn't.
Just to piss off PJ.
Because I think, honestly, PJ loves the sequel so much. I think he needed like an avenue to vent and like discuss it, like to express his love. That's what I heard.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No.
And I know PJ loves, the Force Awakens. Not loves. This is I would say the best movie for him on the sequels one.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it next week. Because it's gonna be.
Oh my gosh! I think I'm gonna be like triggered the whole freaking live stream.
Oh my god! The Last Jedi one is clearly the one we need to do. Like I cannot wait for that one.
Oh my god!
But I don't think any of us truly love it. We'll go into it probably next week. But I know PJ probably disdains it more than the rest of us. So
mostly.
Yeah, I think I can't get into it. I'll say I'm like. Oh, I can't.
We don't want to take you down that rabbit hole.
You know, it is too. It's just like even like how many years later, right? Like, someone says The Last Jedi, and I just get like that feeling that I had after I watched it for the first time. I'm like, oh, like why?
And Brian agrees with you, PJ.
Oh yeah, Brian. See, that's why Brian's one of my moderators for the scum, because he and I we're see eye to eye, man. See eye to eye.
Oh yeah, we'll see. We'll see that next week.
Yeah, but I really think with Dave Filoni being the creative, like I think he's the new lead creative producer in Lucasfilms. Dude, I'm gonna call it right now. He's gonna make people love the sequels, like he's gonna find a way to kind of have all the old trilogies and the new sequel trilogy intersect and be like one cohesive family. I'm telling you.
That. I just sold Finn for like 130.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I got mine for like $100. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I sold my flame trooper from that movie for like 150, I think, shipped as well. Maybe
oh my gosh.
No. But yeah, I mean, it's not like those two figures are not even one Hot Toys figure, really. It's more of the space that they're taking. So I was just like, man, I can't, I gotta get rid of this. I still have a few that I need to get rid of, but
yeah.
From The Force Awakens?
Not only that, just in general.
Yeah.
The space, man. They're standing on somebody else's spot.
Yeah. I had
That's what happens, man.
I had the Hot Toys Kylo Ren, and I like that Kylo Ren, but again, it was just more like I like the Last Jedi Kylo Ren by Hot Toys. Like
the Last Jedi movie? I thought you didn't like that.
No,
no, he loves it. He doesn't like it. He loves it.
The freaking figure, not the movie, but I really love that Last Jedi figure. Hot Toy figure, right? Like I was really surprised, like how much I liked it. I liked it so much I sold it. But obviously, like for me, like I want like one representation of Kylo in my collection, and I think the Rise of Skywalker. I would say that that's the best the best representation of Kylo. I think The Last Jedi was, just because he was just a badass in that movie. But I like the look of the Rise of Skywalker Kylo compared to the other ones. Yeah.
Right. Optical, by the way, you got Mario, see? Set down the same dark path. He wants that. He wants the mic.
Hey, you know what? Mario, you want the mic? You'll get the mic.
That's true, man. Cancel some of those Hot Toys pre-orders.
Hey, speaking of Mike, man, dude, I'm watching your your stream on YouTube. You have an ad that's running for like about 40 seconds now for erectile dysfunction.
Well, so you guys know the sponsor of tonight's show is Viagra. Okay,
Fantastic.
Screw Michael, screw Panda Express. It's Viagra now. We're going big time.
What is that ad trying to say? Like we're a bunch of erectile dysfunction.
I mean,
Probably. Is it
I
really
mean,
optical, or are
I
you
know I
fucking with
beat
us?
the meat. It's hard to beat the meat when it's already tender.
So I guess that's why we have to
I guess, yeah.
take
Yeah.
some supplements.
I know if it doesn't
Sounds
go
about
away in
right.
4 hours, you got to consult your doctor.
That's what they say.
That's on the label.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I've never
Okay,
experienced that, but I've sort of heard.
I wonder if that's painful. Like to
It's
have
gotta
like
be.
it's gotta be, right?
I
There's
mean,
no way you could hold that for 4 hours and not be in pain.
normally you would say, use it or lose it, right? But if you don't use it and it's still there for 4 hours, I think
Yeah.
that's like a, glorious morning for me.
Oh, there's Leao. I got to bring him in.
Yeah.
There's the man.
Hey man, how you doing, bro?
There's the man, the 1/6 scale man.
$29.99.
What's going on, man?
$29.99.
Leao,
Yeah.
how you doing today, man?
Oh man, I'm doing pretty good. I had to run around a little bit today. I had to actually because my fiance, she's having it's like a fashion forward convention tomorrow. Like I guess
nice.
it's all these organizations within the area who have like a fashion boutique. They're coming together because they had like this film, like it's like a documentary. So they're showing this film, and I guess they're going to have like a showcase and stuff like that. So she has to be there. So I had to go out and grab a suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
man, it's not my forte. Because you know what it is? When I get out there, bro, they start talking prices. Automatically in my head, I'm like,
Pre-orders.
exactly. That's what it is. So I'm thinking,
reward points.
exactly. I'm thinking Cap next week. They're gonna actually announce they're gonna start sending out notification about Kylo and Rey. That new Spider-Man anti-Ock dropped today, and I can't wait to get that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, we gotta talk some numbers here. Like maybe, does Family Dollar sell suits? Yeah, I mean, so I was like, yo,
Yeah, I
It's
know.
a requirement.
yeah, right. So it's crazy.
Rob Swallow in the house, by the way. He said he's new. He doesn't know us, so nice to meet you, Rob, even though we've met 1,000 times. But, okay, guys, you ready to discuss The Force Awakens?
Yes.
Damn, we're gonna jump into it, man.
Jeez,
I mean,
man.
is there something else you guys want to talk about beforehand?
Normally, we're like,
Dude,
after
I don't mess
done,
around,
we're
Optical. I
talk
get to
about,
the
like,
point.
All right.
Unless there's something else you want to discuss.
Yeah, this is why you're single.
Maybe so. But tonight we're talking about The Force Awakens, so it doesn't matter. Guys, I cannot wait to hear, especially PJ's thoughts on this. So really what we're going to do, I had this idea here. I think we should start with overall thoughts because we all watched the film. We all did our homework. So we all watched it. We prepared for the show, right?
Yes.
PJ, I want you to go first because I've been anticipating your response more
Oh,
so than
jeez.
any
Like,
others.
man, like, you really
Yeah,
don't play
this
around.
guy's going for the throat, man.
I'm going for
I
the third,
know,
man. Because
man.
PJ,
No
man, the
appetizer,
people want to
nothing.
know. The
They're
people
going
want to know
for
overall
PJ.
thought.
God,
Oh, gosh. Overall thoughts.
like no foreplay whatsoever. Just
I know.
pull out his dick. Oh,
Oh man, Will.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Will, you're really going. You're going
he's
straight.
going hard.
Yeah, going hard, man.
Dude, I'm going full journalist right now. Getting
Yeah.
the hard-hitted questions.
Overall thoughts. I hate this. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, to be honest, like I think I mentioned this before. I think The Force Awakens was probably my favorite movie out of the trilogy, the sequel trilogy. It was a really good introduction to Star Wars again after, damn, how many years? Like 10 years, right? It was 10 years since the Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, I think it was longer than that.
Yeah.
This was
Because Revenge of the Sith was like,
I think.
I think it might have been 10 years. Because wasn't it 07?
Yeah.
07 for Revenge of the Sith?
No, 2005.
2005,
was-
okay.
Yeah, May.
So, and Force Awakens was 2015, I'm pretty sure.
2015, yeah.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
want the credit, so
so it was about 10 years since we got like a Star Wars movie, and I was really excited because One thing about the prequel trilogy that really gave a lot of Star Wars fans a lot of distaste is just George Lucas taking too much, like taking a lot on creating that trilogy. Like he was like, he wrote the screenplay, he produced it, he directed it, he directed like the actors and actresses and like how like he was involved. He had his hands in every plate in the project. So obviously, prequels are very divisive as well. I don't know if I would say divisive. There was quite a few fans that didn't like the prequels. So for me, this was an opportunity for ever since like George Lucas sold it to Disney, like sold the franchise to Disney. I was like, good. Now like we're gonna see what Star Wars is all about, right? You're gonna get like all these like different directors, writers. George Lucas is going to be supposedly an advisor. This is like all like in that signing, right? Like that video of him signing the franchise away. But then like little things start happening behind the scenes that you kind of hear like in like social media or even like on the internet where George Lucas, he had the interview with Charlie Rose. He explained his distaste for Disney. They took his vision and threw it away. Well, I don't know completely, but most of it away. So I was just like, I don't know, how am I gonna feel about this? But anyway, just I was looking forward to watching this movie. I jumped right into it. I fell in love with it, man. Like I really, really liked it from the very beginning of the movie. There are a couple things I was like kind of like iffy about, but at that moment and at that time, I was just like, well, I'm sure they're going to explain it in future movies. Like, for example, like Rey's powers, right? Like, I was thinking more like Darth Revan. Darth Revan, sorry, spoiler alert to specifically optical, right? Darth Revan was like in the video game, like he didn't have any powers. It was more like he was discovering that he actually was a powerful Sith Lord, and it just became like his mind erased. So I was thinking the same lines with Rey, like she was some sort of powerful Jedi that got her mind erased and all these things. It was a good story. I know there were a lot of people that were, kind of angry the fact that it was almost like a mirror of A New Hope, right? They were like, oh, there's a bigger Death Star. There's there's First Order stormtroopers, and so the girl is a scavenger, and she is like an orphan and doesn't know her parents, and she grew up in a planet that has a lot of sand. So yeah, so I mean, overall, I had a lot of fun with this movie. It really gave me hope for Disney acquiring Star Wars. It was a fun movie. I liked the characters. I loved Finn. Finn was like, to me, he was hilarious throughout the whole movie. I saw that he had like a lot of potentials in terms of his character. Like, when he he lit up that lightsaber and tried to attack Kylo, even though he knew he was going to lose, right, to this Sith Lord or Dark Jedi or whatever you want to call him at that time. Like, he still had that courage to stand up to him, and I gave him a lot of credit. And I was just liking everything as a whole. I love Harrison Ford. I love that scene with Kylo and Harrison Ford. That's probably my favorite part of the movie. I don't know. I like Kylo. I like his unpredictable like actions and stuff. Like, he was very raw, very, I don't know. It was just like, yeah, it was just like a new type of, I don't know, villain. But yeah, I really liked it. I watched it 4 times in the movie theater, so that shows you how much I actually liked that movie.
I think I did too, 3 or 4.
Yeah. So and it's just one of those things where you were looking around and people that were new to Star Wars were enjoying this film. They were enjoying like the new characters that were being introduced. It was just one of those films, like, even though you might not be a Star Wars fan, you could jump right into it and totally enjoy it, and don't really have to understand the full lore of the Star Wars universe. So yeah, I liked it. I give it. I mean, if I were to grade out of 10, I would give it like an 8.5 out of 10.
That's solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, optical. Let's go. Let's go mix here. We're going diehard fan, casual Star Wars fan like yourself, and then we'll hit Layal, diehard fan again.
Well, I think I didn't watch it 4 times in the theaters. I think I watched it like twice on an iPad. Once on an iPhone. Yeah, that doesn't really count.
Oh, jeez.
So you got the full experience then.
Yeah, well, once on the iPad, and that was surround. It wasn't on VR this time, but it.
So you didn't get the full experience then.
Oh, I did get the full experience.
Okay.
No, but it was nice, man. And this is coming from, and this is from a guy that didn't really like Star Wars. Not even, I liked it. I didn't care about it. So when that was announced, and I was just like, all right, I can probably dig this. Newer graphics. At least it's pleasing to the eye. I watched it. I wasn't instantly hooked on it up until when we watched it again. When was it that we were like guys messaging each other? Like I was watching it while I was working. Really,
it was like last week or this week. Yeah.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah.
So I was watching it on the iPad, and I was just like, man, this is pretty good. It was. I liked it so much that I dusted off my Kylo, took a picture of it.
I saw that. It was awesome though.
Hey,
yeah.
you know
I
what?
love that figure.
So yeah, I mean, if we're not judging the sequels here, we're just judging
Just
one
Force Awakens,
movie.
yeah.
So this one movie itself, I think it has everything that you want.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't seen the 2 movies yet, everything that cliffhanger, good cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, the cliffhanger
Opening
was-
scene was amazing.
Yeah.
Man. Fine. This is the first time I was like,
Yeah.
man, these stormtroopers, I call them stormtroopers back then, actually can hit something.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn, this is what I want. And they came out with this badass music. Kylo comes out. And throughout the movie, you had that feel, kind of like, all right, they're finally somewhat, like you can fear them really. And then now that you're seeing, like knowing what we do know now, but this particular movie, I liked it. I would agree with PJ. It's like 8.5. The character's development, I hear it, I see it on the chat. It has so much potential.
Right.
Like a Finn equation there, man. The first 15 minutes of the movie, when Finn had that image of the blood on his helmet, I was like, man, this is just a good visual right here.
Mhm.
You can play around with this, in so many ways, and Poe and all the characters, you really do get engaged, and you kind of get along with the characters, even towards the end. So as far as this movie, I would agree, like 8.5. I would say 8.5 for this one.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. All right, Leo, what do you think, man?
I went into it, like I said, because I mean, being a fan and, just the pure nostalgia of finally seeing another Star Wars film that could, kind of help bridge the gap. But at the same time, just to get that feel, that nostalgic feel of, what we were already introduced to. And again, the movie had great potential. I loved this film. Like I loved, just from I went a bit higher, but I loved this film. And the reason why I loved it is because of where I felt as though the narrative had the potential to go. That we didn't get a lot about Rey's character. There was a lot about her that we didn't know. And in the very beginning, to be quite honest, following Finn's journey, introduced to Finn, at first it felt like it felt almost like we were going to go on this journey with him first, that Finn was going to be the person. And when you think about it, knowing what we know about the film, if we would have ended up with Finn being the focal point or Finn being a Jedi, in a sense, it would have made sense. And the reason why I say that is because he already, even though he didn't receive Jedi training, he did receive some form of training. You know what I mean? And if you read the books, they talked about how, Finn himself was an excellent marksman. He in the field, like basically he was a good field general amongst his crew. You know what I mean? Like he, they really talked about his character. They explored his character. But the misdirect, and when we got Daisy, not Daisy Ridley, but when we got Rey, I love that storyline. I love the simple fact that we finally got a strong character. And you know what I always thought about? Now, this is where I felt as though Lucas and Disney missed an opportunity. I always think about Empire. I always think about the scene on Dagobah. I always think about, no, not Empire, as a matter of fact, it was Empire. I always think about what Yoda said. You know what I mean? When Obi-Wan said to him, that boy was our last hope. And he said, no, there is another. Now, the other that he was talking about was Leia. I always felt that there was a missed opportunity for us to really see how powerful Leia really was as a character. So I remember like talking to a few people and they were like, you know what? What if in fact Yoda's intuition and basically his, ability to see things and being the powerful master he is, what if he wasn't talking about Leia? What if he was talking about Rey? I was always like, that's impossible, because the story was basically filtered around Leia's character. You know what I mean? Who she was, the twins. The Skywalker story was always the center point of, Lucas's journey when it came to these characters. But when we got Rey, I was like, okay, there's potential there. It was potential to see where she could actually go. What we got from her in the in the end, when her and Kylo fought, and she closed her eyes, she felt the Force, she opened her eyes, right then and there, the Force within her awakened. So when I looked at it, the title basically made sense for her and Finn. Finn was awoken because he saw what was actually going on. He saw what was happening around him. He wasn't fully with it, but I think that when he saw the death of his friend, he saw the violence going on around him, that Force within him awoken. Same thing we got with Rey. That movie itself was nostalgic, and it was a link between the other films. So to say that this was the start of the sequel films, I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved where it was going. But I felt as though if you're going to put Leia, Han, and you have Luke at the very end, at least see the chemistry between all three of them before we have to lose them. Before we have to let them go. Before we have to embrace the simple fact that we're going to eventually lose these individuals. At least, and granted, no one knew what was going to happen with, Carrie Fisher. We didn't know where that was going to actually go. But at least in this film, I felt as though there could have been a potential to bring them all together so we can feel that. But this cemented the fact that I love Rey's character. I love her journey. A lot of people don't like it, and they didn't like it. They said, oh, she's too OP. She's Mary Sue, this, that, and the third. The way she was written, yes, it was missed opportunities. But if she was written the right way,
I know
there was so much potential with this character, and she could have it could have skyrocketed. If they decide to expand on her story, like the rumor is, if they decide to do that, not saying course correct, but at least when it comes to her story, her backstory, give us more so we can fall in love. I already love the character, but just give us more. Create the opportunity where we can actually go back and love this character. But all in all, like I said, I didn't want to go too much into it, but all in all, I actually, because I love the film so much, I gave it a 9.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
You guys make some really good points about this. And, I think you guys know I'm probably the highest one on the sequels than anybody, but I think The Force Awakens for me, like you guys knew, and I think I told you, like my Star Wars fandom, like as a child, like I had seen the films, I had some family members who were really into Star Wars, but I was never like a huge Star Wars fan until I saw The Force Awakens. And I think, like Optical said, it really did everything you needed it to do. I feel like it's like people complain, I think now in hindsight, saying that it was too similar to A New Hope, but I think, obviously that was by design, but I think it needed to be, because after what the prequels had given us and how upset people were about those prequels, how different they were than the original trilogy, Lucasfilm obviously saw that and were like, why don't we create something that gives people the feeling of the originals? And like, that's what the fans wanted at the time, until Mandalorian eventually came out and it gave us something different. And then we were like, oh, we do kind of want something different. So like, it kind of showed us that we do not want the same thing repeated, rehashed over and over. So for me, sorry, PJ, go ahead.
I just want to touch upon that point. The thing is, though, and I think it goes with any company and anybody who are, I call them suits or higher ups or executives that think they know what they're doing, right? but they don't know. Like, you got executives that are not Star Wars fans making decisions. For example, like, DC, Warner Brothers, like the difference. That's what makes Marvel so special is that you have Kevin Feige, who knows what he's doing. He loves the characters, he loves the universe, and whatever decision he makes is coming from the heart. So the thing is, I totally understand with okay, it's a rehash, reintroduce it, like make it something similar, but you're not giving the fans enough credit to actually give them an opportunity to actually like Star Wars, like Star Wars being Star Wars, right? Like, you're like, oh well, that's the old formula. Let's make it, let's use that same formula because it always works, right? It's something similar. But why is the Mandalorian so special, and why is it so unique? Because it's still kind of doing what it's supposed to do. It's one of those storylines where you really don't have to fully understand the lore of Star Wars, but give like Easter eggs here, there, and make this something similar to the older fans. So not only are you attracting the newer fans, but you're attracting the older fans and putting them in this melting pot, and everyone's just enjoying Star Wars. With this Force Awakens, you're just basically like, okay, let's just get the new fans in, and make them, And I just think that like Lucasfilms doesn't give enough credit to the fans, and like don't give them, I guess.
They played it safe.
Yeah,
They
safe.
did play it safe
They played it safe
with this one for sure, but it worked. I mean, like the movie made a ton of money. The highest grossing one of the three by far. So I mean, but I think that's a really fair point you guys both make. I do feel like The Mandalorian kind of like, I think Brian was saying that, like, it does feel different, yet at the same time, it does feel like the original. And I think that was like the hardest thing to capture for the execs when they're doing the sequels or any Star Wars content. Like, there's so many passionate fans of this fan base. You have to give them something that feels like Star Wars, but also something that's new and fresh at the same time. So like, and that's the tricky part. That's a balancing act. Like, but I do feel like sometimes The Force Awakens especially gets a lot of flack for being similar to A New Hope. I think there are definitely similarities, like unquestionably, but there are also deviations where things are different. Like I think Rey is compared to Luke a lot of times as the hero. Like in A New Hope, Luke is always like a hero's journey. Like he always wants to go towards the fight. Rey spends most of the movie running away from the fight. She like wants to go back to Jakku. Like, I mean, for most of the movie, like she's always running away basically. So and like, I think she has a much different arc than Luke does. I think even in this film. So I feel like that's something, a similarity where, you know, things are a little bit different. And I mean, we could also go into Kylo's stuff too. I mean, but I think Kylo, kind of like we talked about, like, I do feel like they wanted to give us something similar to Darth Vader. And I think they, in order to do that, they had to make this dude look kind of similar, yet also different, and sort of live in the legacy of Darth Vader. And I think that was something that they wanted to do purposefully, obviously. But I don't know, like I do feel like overall I love this film. Like I would give it a 10 just because it really made me a Star Wars film. Are there a few nitpicks I have with it? Sure. Like should Rey win that fight versus Kylo? No. Like I don't think so. Like I mean, I do feel like there probably was a better way to do that. Maybe have her lose without having her get like her hand cut off or something. Like maybe have like like it's split like at the end of the fight. Maybe have that happen before, like Kylo's about to get the upper hand, about to beat her, and then it splits, like the planet splits.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So maybe something like that, right? Where, you know, like, and we won't go into that film, but in Rise of Skywalker, Kylo does win. And then Leia kind of calls out to him and then he loses, but he won that fight. I mean, like, I mean, I think that probably should have happened in The Force Awakens. I mean, Rey catching the lightsaber is an amazing moment, and that still could have happened. But I do feel like there are things like that where I think Rey would have gotten a little less backlash if she had struggled a little bit more. I totally understand that. Like, I do feel like she's not without struggle. I mean, her whole journey is trying to come to grips with the fact that she's been abandoned. She has like major abandonment issues. Like, and that's like her whole arc. I mean, like that's what she does. And like, that's why even when Finn leaves, she's so upset and she hardly even knows the guy because she's just like, I already got connected to you and you're leaving me too. She formed
an attachment. Yeah. She formed an attachment to, you know, someone, and like you said, it was abandonment issues. It was the simple fact that she had been on, you know, pretty much on her own all her life. And then to attach herself to someone who genuinely cared about her. That's why, you know, when we saw in Jakku, you know, after they tried to basically, when they were trying to escape, um, and had to almost escape near death when pretty much that one cottage got blown apart. They got thrown, her BB-8 and all of them, and he gets up, and he was asking her, "Are you all right?" You know what I mean, making sure that she's okay. That was his first initial response, was to make sure that she was fine. So of course she's gravitating to someone who genuinely has a care for her well-being rather than what they can get from her. You know what I mean? So the thing about the movie and the whole thing in itself was, they wanted, you can't make it sort of like a self-contained film if you're not giving the fans a chance to see it that way. And what I mean by that is, you have, yes, they wanted to give it its nostalgia, but they relied too heavily on what was old and how they thought they could bring the fans in by giving us something that we kind of already expected them to do, in a sense, giving us, a bigger Death Star, you know what I mean? Star Killer base, in a sense. That right there, okay, I could have went with that, in a sense. I would have much rather them stick with, pretty much, the Star Destroyers having their own, weaponry outside of Star Killer base. That's one thing that they could have done different, instead of giving us that, because then that's relying on nostalgia, what we saw once before. They had so much potential. Now, the fight between Rey and Kylo, and a lot of people didn't realize, is that Kylo at that time, and they even said it, he wasn't a Sith. No. He was basically in training. You know what I mean? He was still in training. So yes, his recklessness, his emotional outbursts, wanting so much to please his grandfather or to be something totally different, trying to basically say, or just hold up to the, and on top of that, trying to escape the light. That conflict is what lost him that fight. You know what I mean? It was just mainly that conflict. What won Rey the fight is her ability at that particular time to tap into the Force and calm herself under peril. That's what won that particular fight for her. However, the thing is, the missed opportunity with that is that we didn't get enough backstory. We didn't get enough. And I think that would have been the perfect opportunity to give us a tad bit. I'm not even saying that they have to give us too much about her in general, like just kind of just spoil the plot, and they didn't have to do all that. But at the same time, don't just give her power all at once. Not all at once. There should have been some type of an actual struggle. Even her, the melee between her, and there should have been some form of struggle. And I actually thought, and I was like, what would have made this, in my opinion, what would have made this scene or that scene much better, if Luke would have showed up right then and there.
That's what a lot of people wanted, I think.
If he would have showed up right then and there and stopped the fight, and on top of that, even if we didn't see him attack Kylo, we would have known, okay, there's something between both of them.
That's a great point.
You know what I mean? There's something between both of them that's kind of off, or there's history there. And he's just trying to get, if anything, have Luke come to stop her from killing him, because there was a reason, and pull him away from it. You know what I mean? Pull her away from it. You know what I mean? That would, in a way, I mean, the thing is, it's like when we see Luke in the very end of this film, it's like, okay, I had high expectations for what we were going to see next, because I'm like, you know what? At least with him, I can understand. Yes, something. We're going to. I see hope. I see the simple fact that he can train her. We're going to get the Luke of old.
Yeah,
we're not here to basically talk about The Last Jedi. I understand that, and for people who've actually watched it, they understand where I'm going with it. But I just felt as though we should have saw a little bit more of Luke. We should have saw the camaraderie between the old. And I felt as though with the film, they should not have relied too much on what's, because and I agree, I 100% agree with what PJ was saying. They didn't give the fans credit. They didn't give us credit to know that we were smart enough to really, really want to receive something totally different as Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
They could have gave us something, as well as giving the new fans something to latch on to, satisfying both without feeling as though they had to kind of rely on everything else. You know what I mean?
Right.
But for the first attempt at this film, and I'm like I said, I'm not trying to take away from the film because The Force Awakens literally gave me everything that I wanted. When I saw Kylo on screen, I was hype. I was so hype because I'm like, but I was one that felt as though, when we were in the theater, and I ain't gonna never forget it, when he took off his helmet, everybody else was screaming, yes. I was like, no.
he was very like,
That
he
was
like
actually my first reaction too. To be
I was
fair.
like,
like,
no.
why is he like? Why he looks so like innocent?
Young and innocent. Yeah.
Yeah, like why? Like, no, don't take off your helmet. I don't want to see you to the second or third film, bro.
Yeah,
Like literally,
Give him
I
a
don't.
beard or something. Give him
Yeah,
a
give him
God.
something.
Give him
Yeah,
a scar. Yeah.
exactly, bro. Give him something like to say that he's been through whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him. And even if he takes off his helmet, don't show his face. Like, don't let us see who he really is.
Yeah.
Create the mystery around that character because then we would have investment in him. Like, yo, who is Kylo? What it
Yeah.
is about Kylo? You know what I mean? So there was so many opportunities, but they just didn't go there. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I think the hard part would have been the Han Solo death scene. That would have been really hard to do with the helmet on. That's the problem. You know what I mean? That would have been really challenging. It wouldn't have been as emotionally impactful.
The thing is, they shouldn't have killed off Han, right? I know Han wanted
Yeah.
to.
I think
Yeah.
Harrison Ford wanted to die.
I know he wanted to die like after the first
Yeah.
movie, but
He's so
the thing-
expensive.
I know, but the thing is, I think that because like like what Lael said, and I totally forgot about mentioning this, is that the missed opportunities in this movie or in this sequel as a whole, especially the trio. Like, how could you not have them on screen at the same? You got them back. That in itself is such a huge accomplishment. To
Yeah.
get all three of them back, including Harrison Ford, why wouldn't you want to put them on the same screen together? Like
Yeah. Missed opportunity, no doubt.
that was just to me like really, really, I don't know. That was disappointing. But the thing is, for me is that all of us, we're all fans of this movie, and we could come up with so much better stories than these writers. I know there was another fan that came up with a theory, like, because everyone was like, oh, why did Kylo kill Han? At that time when I was like, scouring the internet, I know there was a guy that kind of came up with a theory, like Kylo did not kill Han. Like Han lit up that saber to kill himself because he knew that Snoke was watching, and he wanted Kylo to kind of like not complete his journey to the dark side, but kind of pretend to complete his journey to the dark side. And Kylo would have been like almost like a spy for the dark, like to find out who the real true bad guy is in the sequel trilogy, right? I thought that would have been like a cool.
That was my theory too. After the Force Awakens, I thought Kylo was like planted to like do that, and Han lit the saber himself to kill
help.
him because he knew he needed to sacrifice.
That's brilliant.
himself.
That's brilliant
Yeah.
because the thing is, even because when you look at that scene, you see both him and Kylo holding, Ben. Him and Ben were, and it looked as if Ben himself was turning the saber towards Han, but it could have been that Han was saying, "Okay, whatever it takes." And was
Exactly.
That's what I thought because he says thank you.
Yes, and
So,
he
like,
did, and that's
yeah.
you're right. Kylo said thank you, as if he said, "Look, you're giving me a chance here. You're giving me a chance
Right.
at this, and it's not something that I really didn't want to do, but you're doing this for me." Which, in that sense, it was sort of like Kylo's. It was almost like him saying, "Wow, like my father really does love me." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he's willing to sacrifice himself for me, then there is love there. The problem was, you know what? Not everybody else saw that. Ray didn't
Right.
see it. Finn didn't see it. Chewie definitely didn't see that coming. So, you know what I mean? Like, but if that's the way it was, man, like that right there, like it would have been brilliant. Definitely would have been brilliant.
So, what do you think, Optical? Like, do you think they played it too safe? Like, as someone like myself, you and I are probably similar in that we weren't huge Star Wars fans before this film. Like, do you feel like it's a little too safe?
No, you know what? Like, because I'm watching this with the benefit of not liking the first Star Wars and not remembering what the Last Jedi and the other one is. I really forgot what they are. Like, I all I know is the PJ hates them, and I want to talk about it. But what happened to it, I genuinely forgot. I watched it. I got the 4K for it, but like I watched it playing on the background. We never really paid attention. So now I'm watching this as a solo movie, right? Like, so this is like my first introductions to Star Wars, and that's what you got to. That's why we hired Andy Dalton to usher in Justin Fields, and and that's what you got to do. Like if you match up the characters, you got BB-8, which is another droid that's gonna be it introduced something. It's new, but it's familiar. And you want to do that when you're introducing new fans, right? Because right now you guys are talking about this with the benefit of knowing that
it's hindsight benefit. Yeah.
So if we talked about this in 2015, I'm pretty sure the tone is different. It was like, man, I can't wait for The Last Jedi.
We were all hyped. Everyone. Oh,
we were all. Everyone.
We were all hyped for the sequel.
So we are good. You guys can forgive some of the shortcomings of this, because even right now that we knew about what happened, or you guys knew about it, you still gave it an 8.5 and a 9. So
right.
Will is crazy to give it a 10, by the way, but that's him.
What else is new?
But there's shortcomings in it. Like when Kylo, this again coming from me, I'm probably the most impartial guy in here. When he took off his helmet, I was like, dude, you got to put it back.
There must have been something in Adam Driver's contract or something where he had to show his face or something. Kind of like Pedro, where he shows his face once a season.
Give us a goatee or something, scare us. It's kind of like that.
But you know what? Yeah. Adam Driver was the one who said that he didn't want to remove the helmet. He didn't want to remove it. He wanted to keep it on because he felt as though that was the whole premise behind Vader. That was the whole thing behind Vader, was the mystery, the things that we didn't know about that character all at first. So it started with his journey. It started what we got, because when we watched A New Hope, they talked about Anakin Skywalker, they talked about Vader, but we didn't know that they were one and the same. Actually, we didn't feel that and know that until, Empire. So Adam wanted to actually have that same, reaction. But again, execs, Kathleen Kennedy and everyone else just decided that, it was the right thing to do. I felt as though it was wrong, because I was like, yo, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want a fully polished, good looking Sith. No. I don't need that.
That just proves what happened towards the end, because when he took it off, people were like, what? This is it? And when he got beat by Rey, it was like, I knew it. He was a pussy. I knew it.
But it's weird. Like, it's almost, that's the point, though. You know what I mean? Like, he's supposed to look innocent and young and like inexperienced and insecure, and he does. Like, and that's kind of the point of the character.
It was a little too much, though. Like, I mean, I know they're trying to go for that, maybe, but man, like his eyes were like sparkling when he like took off the helmet. Like,
he had a Korean haircut. I mean,
he obviously styled his hair after Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, his hair was like flowing. I think he did one of these like L'Oreal like twirls. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
You went out of your way to have a voice changer and not change your looks to become a boy band. Come on, man.
Yeah, like you feel like, I mean, come on, like compare that scene to like when he first showed up.
You're trying to be scary here.
Yeah, you're like, oh shoot, like he just told these First Order stormtroopers to like annihilate these villagers.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, and then next year you're like, oh, what the?
Give me my conditioner. It's like, what?
It's almost like he should have had the scar he had in Last Jedi in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I think that would have helped. Make him look a little more worn and battle damaged and
exactly. Like just a little bit more like badass.
Because in Last Jedi he doesn't look like a young, innocent kid. He looks more like a villain. Yeah.
In that movie, he's trying hard, right? He's trying so hard. He's not even a Sith, but he's trying hard to be Vader.
Yeah.
You're not trying hard enough on your looks. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, and that's why I think, like, for me, like, the best representation of Kylo was the second movie, even though, like, the second sequel trilogy movie. But even though I didn't like that movie, I just liked his progression. Like, he went from, like, this unstable, unpredictable, I don't know, like, dark side Force user to like this dude who's just like completely off the rockers, right? Like he's like more, like he just wants to just and I'm like, yo, that's my dude right there. Like I like that guy, you know. And again, I totally agree with like they should have taken off his helmet just to give that mystery, that like that feeling you got when you first saw him walking down the ramp, off his ship, and you're like, oh man. But it's just one of those things where the thing is, and you know, like I try to look behind. I always try to like do some research with the behind the scenes, right? So they were going to go with George Lucas's, you know, his I guess like
His treatment, yeah, like
treatment
his
for the
script.
for the trilogy, for the sequel trilogy, but they kind of like, well, your prequels didn't do well so well. Let's just go. But the thing is, with the prequels, you have to understand that back then, most of the critics that really didn't like the prequels were mostly like the film critics, right? Because from a film critic point of view, like yeah, it's not the perfect movie, right? It's very slow. The pacing's slow. The dialogue sucks. But from a Star Wars point of view, from a Star Wars fan point of view, it really captures the essence of Star Wars and continues that storyline of Anakin,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And this trilogy, what George Lucas wanted from this trilogy was, like I think Lael talked about it earlier, was to explore Leia and the grandkids. That was the purpose. Like the first movie, I mean, the first trilogy was Luke, right, the son. The second movie, second trilogy was the father, and this one was supposed to be the daughter, the sister, and the grandkids, and that was it. That was gonna wrap it up in a bow, and that was it. But we didn't get that, obviously,
Yeah.
and you could tell there was a lot of plot holes, like especially one of the biggest plot hole was like when she walked down those steps in Maz Kanata's castle, and you hear Obi-Wan Kenobi saying, "Oh, this is your first steps," and blah blah blah. There was no connection. There was no reason for that scene after we watched the other two movies. Like, what was the purpose of that scene when we find out, like later on in the Rise of Skywalker, that she was a Palpatine all along?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I don't know. It was like there's a lot of things that was left unexplained. A lot of characters that were left on the table, like Maz Kanata. That was one big one. Like what happened to her?
That was the biggest. Okay. So her, and one of the biggest missed opportunities for me, and I was so pissed, was Captain Phasma, bro.
Oh, don't get me started, man.
Bro, when we first seen her in the trailer, and we seen that image, it was like, yo, because initially Captain Phasma was supposed to be the Kylo-like villain in the film. That was the armor that they designed. They designed that to be the villain. It was actually designed off of a Ralph McQuarrie painting, and they just basically decided to go full chrome with it.
Yeah.
But they changed it, but then decided to use the costume for another character, and we got Kylo. It was such a missed opportunity to have that character in there. I just felt as though it was a badass. I mean, even having the figure, even though, like I said, the articulation is terrible, but still having the figure in general is amazing. And I was like, yo, I wanted her to be my favorite character, just like Boba Fett was one of my favorite characters from the original trilogy. What they did with her in Force Awakens pissed me off, because I was like, yo, like you're making her not even, it's like you're delisting this character, bro. Like you put her in the actual trailers, you make her something big, and then you fall at the wayside with that. Then same thing as Maz. Maz was so wise. I thought Maz, just like Yoda was, what Yoda was to Luke, Maz could have been to Rey. And that was a totally missed opportunity. Even though she said, look, I'm not a Jedi, but she did say, I understand the Force. With that, it could have been a journey for both Maz and Rey. Maz discovering or realizing her potential of what the Force really has for her, what has stored for her, at the same time helping Rey on her hero's journey. Yeah. Those things, that's the thing, is like, they underestimate us as fans. We know how to fucking write. Excuse the expression. I'm sorry, but we know how to write. We know what's, especially because we follow these films for years. We know how to put a story together. And I think sometimes before they even come to the drawing board, they need to sit down with fans and be like, look, do you have ideas? Just put them out there, or at least accept certain, like, now I'm not talking about fan service and when people come up with that Raylo and all. No, I'm not talking about that.
I'm talking about just really understanding that us as fans, we're not stupid. We're not dumb. And at the same time, we want a good story. But I just think, even though, like I said, I'm not, and that's not to discredit Force Awakens as a film, because like I said, I was happy for it. It gave us, it was potential. I just think that there were a lot of missed opportunities that they could have capitalized on.
Right.
Yeah.
And I agree, Leo. I think you make a really good point. The problem to me is, like, you mentioned Phasma and Boba Fett. Like, I feel like Boba Fett had the same exact thing done to him. I mean, like in the original trilogy. I mean, like, he's such a cool looking badass character, and he gets sidelined like completely. I mean, like, so basically until Mandalorian came out, Boba Fett was always a mystery. I mean, until obviously like there's comics and stuff and other things he shows up in. But as far as the original trilogy, like, he was very much a cool looking character that people loved, but he was mysterious. And like, Phasma obviously didn't catch on quite as well as Boba Fett, but I mean, she was one, obviously, like you said, we wanted to learn more about. And I feel like almost that's more the fault of Last Jedi than it is Force Awakens. Like, they set her up as this sort of mysterious, she's a supporting character, I mean, but she's not, like, you don't know enough about her, but you want to learn more. And I feel like Last Jedi didn't really do that. And honestly, like you guys have said, I feel like a lot of this, I mean, honestly, I think people would be opposed to it at first, but a Phasma show, I think that would be cool,
Well,
right? I think people would jump on board eventually if Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau was overseeing this, and they like wanted to bring these characters that people don't like and make people like them. So I think that might be interesting.
Trash compactor though.
Yeah, you know,
She went in a trash compactor.
I'm gonna use a Will Foxification move.
You want me to full screen you?
Disney.
Oh,
Hey,
don't
Di-
do it. Oh, okay. You're just gonna paint. I thought you were gonna do something.
Oh, I full screen myself.
I thought. Well,
Disney, you have the opportunity. You have the opportunity to make even if you brought her into Mandalorian season 3, you could, because she is an older character. She was around, and her story, her background is very interesting. So you can do it. It's not just for me. It's Will Foxification. It's PJ. And it's the man himself, Optical.
The Beat
we
Master.
feel as though the Beat Master. We feel as though you can do it. This announcement brought to you by Michaels.
and Viagra.
Yeah, maybe Panda Express.
See, the thing is, with Phasma, I remembered that. I mean, I'm telling you, I was so excited for The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And I remember they had like Force Friday on September, sometime in September. I think it might have been September 4th or something like that. And I remember Force Friday, like I was waiting outside in Toys R Us, and I was just like, oh man, here's the merch. I'm trying to get a Captain Phasma.
You know what? You were like 35 back then, right? You're out with Toys R Us.
Yeah, come on. I was trying to get.
Optical, we all do that. Not anymore because Toys R Us doesn't exist. But.
Yeah. No, but like I was just like, oh man, I can't wait. Like, I get to check out all these like cool Star Wars merch. And it just, I don't know. It just throughout time, I think like a lot of people have just, I don't know, like the Star Wars merch for this trilogy hasn't really sold well.
No.
And but the thing is, and Leo makes a great point, with like, Disney underestimating the fans and like the new fans, right? Like they're like, the new fans are not going to catch on. Hello, Mandalorian. That's like the Mandalorian. Like, dude, like if you look at the Mandalorian, you wouldn't think that was going to catch on with the new fans. But like the one thing that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is good at is making you fall in love with characters that keep you connected to the show and to the movie. So Baby Yoda, I mean, come on. Like as soon as that first oh my goodness. But it was almost like, reusing that formula of the lone wolf and the cub. Right, like a lot of like Akira Kurosawa, like Japanese movies and stuff like that. Like where they're traveling, they're trying to escape the bad guys, they're going through towns and stuff like that. And I don't know, like I just feel like some of the new movies, and I'm not trying to trash this movie, guys. Like seriously,
no, you're not. That's not how it's coming across.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. It's just that like there was at that time when I watched it for like 4 times in the movie theaters, there's a lot of things I overlooked just because I had hopes for the second movie to explain it.
After watching it 4 times, there's a lot of things you overlooked. I watched it on an iPad. I think that was enough.
and he really liked it.
It was like, yeah, I feel like I gotta go back the fifth time.
TJ, I think you said something really interesting in terms of like, I do feel like the Mandalorian is something. I feel like fans, as Star Wars fans, like it was something we needed, but we didn't know we needed. You know what I mean? I think it was like I didn't really necessarily hear like a ton of Star Wars fans at the time calling like we need a bounty hunter show. You know what I mean? Like I think this was something. It's hindsight. It's us looking back and saying this is what we needed because it's new and fresh, and we wanted new and fresh. But I don't think fans really knew exactly what they wanted. Like
so here's the thing. So I definitely agree with you. I think it's just something like out of the blue and something like unexpected. Right. But the thing was, Kathleen Kennedy at the time was really focusing on the sequel trilogy. Like all her attention was a sequel. Mm-hmm. She greenlit like the Mandalorian, but basically it was Jon Favreau that was really. I mean, he's the producer. He was like in charge of everything, and the fact that like, again. The one thing with The Force Awakens and the rest of the sequel trilogy movie is the fact that you got investors and higher executives wanting money instantly. They were like, yo, we spent $4 billion. We want our money now. I don't care how you do it and how you get it.
I'll play devil's advocate to this, PJ, though, because we said you all said that they underestimated you guys, but you guys still loved The Force Awakens. However, the moment they took the creative liberty of doing The Last Jedi,
right, that's destroyed everything.
Creative liberty, where I was like, all right, the fans are going to get this. It's time to move on. We're going to kill all the characters that they love.
No. Yeah, so here...
I think it's hindsight, because I think people really love The Force Awakens, and now when they view it in the context of The Last Jedi, they don't like it.
So
that's
when
what
they
happens.
got The Force Awakens, they were like, all right, I mean, this
I'm happy.
$1 billion. Now we can do what we want, because now we got their,
No, but here's the thing is that, like, so with The Force Awakens, it was more like they had, like, the treatments from George Lucas. And... again, there's been like multiple times where what's his name, the director of the movie, not Zack Snyder,
Ryan Johnson.
Not Ryan Johnson. Force Awakens.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams. Like where George Lucas would come on and it's like, hey, what's up with the grandkids? Because he knew that was his treatment for the characters, and unfortunately, J.J. was forced. When George was like, hey, listen, you guys are not taking any of my stuff, I'm taking it back with me. Don't use it, And it was more so like JJ was kind of left on back to the drawing board, where he's got to kind of like use the same kind of formula, which is A New Hope, to kind of like create his movie. And that's the thing is that like, these... Yes, they captured a lot of fans and everything, but the thing is, in the back of all of us, all of our minds, is that it's a trilogy. There's like I said, there was a lot of things I overlooked because I knew they were going to explain it with the rest of the movie, right? I gave it that chance. I think the lack of Star Wars content for 10 years, the only thing we got were Clone Wars, right? And, if you watch the first Clone Wars movie, I think that was just a really tough pill to swallow. Even being as a Star Wars fan, that movie was really hard to stomach. Right. But again, it was just like a lot of people were just really, 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 really excited for this movie in general. That's why it did so well, because it was a lot of fans and, a lot of like older fans who had kids at that time. It's like, oh, I'm going to introduce my kid to Star Wars. This is the perfect way to introduce them to the Star Wars. So you got a lot of that. It's just that, I just didn't think they had a plan. And it showed. It didn't have a plan. Even though they have... See, here's the difference between creative, like, okay, you have you were going to give you all full creative control of this movie. But the fact is that, like, you're asking Ryan Johnson to get full creative control of a script that doesn't exist. They were like, well, Ryan Johnson's like, what do you want me to do? Oh, you decide. You figure it out. And you're like, well, you haven't finished filming the first movie. Like, are you sure? Yeah, this is like the outline. Here you go. Like this is where we're ending, and just try to follow up with that.
Yeah, it was a mistake, but I do think PJ, like one thing I've always heard too, like
Yeah.
even George, they kind of figured things out movie by movie. I mean, like even like when they did the original trilogy, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I know he said from the beginning that Darth Vader was always planned to be the father. I'm not sure I buy that because like there are definitely signs in A New Hope where just some of the things Obi-Wan says and some of the things that happen, I'm not convinced that was always the plan because like, and even George, supposedly I've read things where he always says, but I've heard he said in private that they didn't decide that until they were writing Empire. So like, and it was kind of something they came, and the fact that Leia is his sister and they kissed originally, that tells me again, I don't think that was necessarily in the plans originally. So I do feel like things like that are overlooked with the original trilogy, that the sequels are not given that luxury because it worked out. So I mean,
Yeah.
it worked out, but I do feel like it's the same logic, if that makes sense. I do feel like
Well,
they should have had a plan, no doubt.
If
But
anything, honestly, on The Last Jedi, they tried what you guys were asking.
they tried and they failed.
They
Yeah,
tried. They were like, all right, you don't want to see Han Solo? You want us to be creative? Here we go. We're going to be the Dark Knight. Oh,
Right.
boy, it didn't work. So
Yeah.
with now, I think with The Mandalorian, it was test ground. That's why it's on Disney Plus. That's why it's not a movie.
Right.
They were like, all right, you know what? Rogue One kind of worked. There's something that they didn't need. People kind of liked it.
Yeah.
It's
Loved it.
fresh,
Yeah.
but it's familiar.
Yeah.
We're gonna put Mandalorian. You know what? Yeah, fresh but familiar. But you know what? I don't know how people's gonna react with a guy who doesn't show his face. So guess what? We're gonna make it a TV show. We're not quite
Right,
ready
it's
for
worth
the
a shot.
movie yet.
And we got to
Yeah.
give
It
Kathleen
works.
Kennedy for
Yeah.
credit for Greenland, because I mean, like people always crap on Disney, right? But I mean, like without Disney, we wouldn't have Mandalorian. We wouldn't have like a lot of, probably even Bad Batch. We wouldn't have a lot of the Star Wars content that we're getting now.
Yeah, but see the things, with the newly announced like creative producer, John, whatever.
Oh,
his
Dave
title-
Filoni, yeah.
Dave Filoni. The thing is that this should have been done a long time ago. Why?
Sure.
Why did it take so long? Why you have a non-Star Wars fan producing, helping like direct where the storyline's gonna go? Like you should be like, as soon as like George Lucas says, peace out, just get the next best thing, which is Dave Filoni. He's in the bench. He's in the bench. And the thing is, with the Mandalorian is that like, I think Jon Favreau pitched this. I think it was in the book I was reading. Is that like he pitched this so many times, and finally like they greenlit it, and it was just like, oh, it's gonna be in Disney Plus. We just need like a content to put on. It wasn't like, oh, this is gonna, I don't know, it sucks. They just needed some content. They didn't think it was gonna be this big. No one knew. And I'm just happy that like, when the Mandalorian came out, it just proves to you that if you have someone who produces and directs a Star Wars movie from the heart, it will show and people will gather around to listen to a great story, given the the essentials that they need to make these movies, which is basically what I was expecting from this not a merger, but this from this buyout, by Disney.
Right.
It was that they have the resources and the funds to create great Star Wars movies, and all they have to do was just hire the right people to make these movies, and yeah.
And sometimes, like an executive, they might be thinking they're getting the next Christopher Nolan, because Christopher Nolan does not like Batman. He didn't even read a single
He
comic.
just wanted to do a Batman movie.
They hired him that is his first big film, Warner Brothers. And look at now, 20 years later, we're starting talking about like Batman Begins. Maybe they're trying to hit with that. Like, hey man, we're going to get out of the Star Wars for kids kind of thing.
Right.
Star Wars is going to be the new Dark Knight. And they tried to be bold, but I guess that's where you can say they underestimated Star Wars fans, because Star Wars fans, like you said, PJ, they want Star Wars. So you want Boba? Here you go, a guy that looks exactly like Boba.
Right.
You want the Millennium Falcon? You want the Death Star? We're gonna give you a Rogue One, the thing that happened before the Death Star. So are you? You guys are saying you want something new, but do you Star Wars fans really want something new? Because we kept on going back to a guy that looks like Boba.
I think they want both.
That happens before.
They want both.
I think they do want our cake and eat it too, 100%.
But the usher in, I thought that the Force Awakens was ushering it in. You know, kind of like, hey man, we're gonna introduce you something familiar, but we're gonna slowly fade him away. We're gonna kill them one by one, and we're gonna make you love these new characters. I think they went too soon though.
They went too soon. But here's the thing: I'm not a terrible critic of The Last Jedi, because I think that there were great steps that were taken in that film. My only gripe about the film is how they did Luke Skywalker, because the thing is, it's like I didn't like that interpretation. Neither did Mark Hamill. If they would have actually fleshed out the character the right way, if they would have gave us the Luke that we know, especially what we've gotten, even from reading the actual source material, reading the books, even the games, there's so much that Luke learned amongst his journey that wasn't even on film. There was so much about the character and how they portrayed him in the in The Last Jedi. That was the biggest misstep. But everything on the outside of that created up now the whole what was that planet they were on? The whole
Crate?
Not Crate, the racing, what was that? The
Canto Bite.
That
was
Bite.
awful.
Canto Bite. They didn't
just cut it out.
Exactly. They could have cut that and used that space for something bigger. But I just felt as though there were great steps that were taken with the film, and I did appreciate some of what Rian Johnson attempted to do. If he wouldn't have did what he did with Luke Skywalker, I would have been okay with that change. I would have been okay with the journey. You know what I mean? I would have been okay the simple fact that we got something totally different. Even if the fans, I like that portion of it. I like the storyline between, Kylo, Rey, and Snoke. I like that. The throne room is one of the best scenes I've seen on camera visually in a long time. That was amazing. But it was just what they did with Luke that I did not agree with. So, like you said, Beatmaster, like you said, though, there was, as fans, there are a lot of us that want to see something different, but I just think that it's the missed opportunities and killing off those characters that were important and really, like the center point or the centerpiece of what Star Wars means without giving them their last moment together. That was an opportunity that was completely, even if you wanted to kill off Han, you could have killed Han off in The Last Jedi. If you had killed him off in The Last Jedi, but at least gave us Luke and Leia, and you know what I mean, that going into the next film would have been like, okay, now we're ready to accept the simple fact that the old versus the new. It's the passing of the baton from them on to the new. What Yoda say, we are what they grow beyond. It would have been basically an opportunity there to capitalize, but I think that's where they basically made mistake, especially if you're starting with a film like that grows so much money with The Force Awakens, that gave us right there, that was the schematic right there. That was something on camera that we could say, okay, cool, now let's see where we go next. And we were excited to see where we were going to go next until we got some missteps. So like you said, Optical, we want something different. I think the fans want a bit of both. They want something different, but they want to at least to pay homage to what came before.
And that's why I think The Force Awakens did masterfully. That's why we all agree here that we're like 9 or 8.5.
Yeah. Right. So the thing is, one thing about Star Wars fan is that, there is a lot of lore and a lot of backstory, a lot of things that are built by not only George Lucas, but back in the day, there's a lot of books and a lot of video games, and that has a lot of lore. Like Star Wars is just not what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, you know what? We're going to change Wolverine. Instead of having him with adamantium claws, he's not going to have claws and blah, blah, blah. Or he's not going to be this, this angry, short mutant. He's going to be this happy-go-lucky guy. And that's the thing, is that you can't change that without pissing off Star Wars fans. And that's one thing, is that it's the universe is built. You're not building it from anew. And I think that what the sequel trilogy, and I wouldn't say that with The Force Awakens did that, but maybe the other movies did, is that they were trying to go against the grain and go against what made Star Wars, right? They were trying to make Last Jedi, and I'm not going to dive into it because I want to save that for the next live stream, is that seriously, from a sci-fi point of view, one of the best sci-fi movies you'll ever see, right? But as a Star Wars movie, absolutely not, in my opinion. But
yeah, I think you guys fans are not ready for like the Luke scene, because maybe they're looking at it. I was like, man, Superman, the Man of Steel, coming off that 2013, that ain't the Christopher Reeves that we've seen. He was like touring up building. Then after that, you got the BVS Batman killing thugs. So it's just, and we're like, man, Luke's gonna be a bad guy. So, but you know, that's why I think they underestimated like Star Wars fans. You're gonna be like, oh, dude.
I think they underestimated that people. I think they misconstrued the idea that people would accept Luke as this sort of hermit and someone who runs away from the fight instead of going towards it, because he's never really been that. So, but I mean, I do feel like that does happen with some of the Jedi. Like Yoda goes next out, Obi-Wan does it. I mean, they kind of followed that in a sense, right? I mean, like they follow that to a degree. I mean, the Jedi tend to do that when they fail sometimes. I mean, so. And Luke has always been that virtuous, over-the-top hero who's always about good and altruistic. But like, I do feel like I think he should have. Force Awakens was fine, and that Luke has disappeared. That's fine. And then they find him in Last Jedi. I feel like the mistake Last Jedi made was not having him sort of come back to the light, so to speak. Like having him maybe show up and save. He should have been saved the day, but not in the way I think people wanted.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't. And again, I won't dive into it, but I just think that, like, you know,
it's so hard not to.
No, but like, yeah, we'll save it for.
Wait for the Last Jedi.
I know it's gonna be so much fun.
The thing is, you know, like with that one, I think you go from like one extreme to another. Not I would say one extreme. You set JJ set everything up right for the second movie, which was a great setup. It was a great setup. That's why I watched it 4 times, because it was just like there's. Like, you're forgiving. Like, you know, to be honest, like, as a Star Wars fan, I'm pretty forgiving. Like, trust me, I watched the holiday special. I watched, you know, the first, try watching the first Clone Wars movie, right? I remember watching that in the movie theaters with Zero the Hutt. I was just like, oh my God. Like, okay, I like it. Like, it was really hard for me to like that movie. Ahsoka was really annoying in that first movie, like really annoying, right? Like, if you watch that optical, like, you're gonna be like, I don't want to watch another Clone Wars. Like, you would just like.
I watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah,
that
dude,
was
like
enough. That was enough for you.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that it was worse than those first 2 episodes.
Damn, that must be bad.
And I liked it. I see. The thing is, like, I liked it because I'm a Star Wars fan. Like Lael said, Attack of the Clones. I mean, that was like another tough movie to watch, or even like a Phantom Menace. But there are really cool scenes as a Star Wars fans, and you like the lore. Right, you like the, you know, the certain things that you pull out of it that you're like, yeah, you know, the pod racing scene. Even though it was one of those scenes where even back then they were like, well, we could have used that. We didn't need to see that whole scene. But watching it now, like, you're like, shoot, damn, like, it really pushed the boundaries with the surround sound. That was the purpose of that scene, was to like showcase, like, Lucas wanted to push technology. And with that movie, he wanted to push the surround sound. Like, when you're sitting in the movie theater and you're hearing the pod racers like fly by, you're like, oh shoot, like, that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
You know, but again, those are the things that you look forward to. And same with The Force Awakens. There was like, for me, Kylo, I was like, oh dude, that first opening scene, I love that. Oh yeah, like, you know, that scene with Han, that was a really cool, like, moment. Oh, right, I like that. Oh, you know, Han and Chewie coming aboard the Millennium Falcon. Oh, I like that. You're pulling things from there that make you like the movie. So, you know, yeah, it's a good movie.
Right.
Force Awakens is a good movie. It's a good introduction. And it's you know, it was just like The Mandalorian, right? Like, when you see other Star Wars fans or new Star Wars fan getting into the genre, you're like, yeah, you're like welcoming everybody with open arms. Like, when Optical watched Mandalorian for the first time, he's like, dude, am I going to like this? I'm like, dude, just watch it. Just watch the first episode. And he's like, dude, I like this movie and this show. I'm like, yeah, come on down. Like, you know, it's just, I don't know.
I feel like Mandalorian has done what Force Awakens did too, and bring in a lot of new fans. Probably more so. But I mean, like, but Force Awakens, like I said, it did it for me. So like, I wouldn't be the Star Wars fan that I am if not for the Force Awakens. And I do have a lot of appreciation for the film for that, because I do feel like it succeeded in what it was trying to do there. Right. I feel like it succeeded in, you know, revitalizing a fan base. And that's kind of why this question's up here. Like, how does it feel as a Star Wars film? I feel like it does capture the feeling of Star Wars. And that's what it was going for. Like, I do. Is it safe? Yeah, but I do feel like it was a huge risk coming off a $4 billion investment. And like you said, PJ, a lot of shareholders are invested in this thing. They want it to be safe. The biggest thing they probably heard, and like I said, in hindsight, things have completely changed. This would be another question we touch on. But the prequels were hated at the time. I mean, like if you view pretty much what anyone was saying about it, they said Hayden Christensen was awful. They said that Jake Lloyd was awful. They said everything about the prequels. Like, in my opinion, like, the first two prequel films are not well-made films, period. Like, and not just Star Wars films, just filmmaking. Like, I just feel like especially Attack of the Clones, like, it's especially awful in my opinion. Like, it's just, those two are probably my least two favorite Star Wars films. I just feel like they're not well made. So, and I feel like, in my opinion, like, what they tried to do was do the opposite of that. They tried to give you something more like the original trilogy and make it a little more familiar and likable. And that's what they did, because people have decided they like the prequels now in hindsight. But at the time, they didn't like the prequels. So that's why my question is this. Like, changing perception over time. Do you guys think that the sequels in 10 years, in a decade, is the perception going to change? Because I kind of have a feeling it will. I think in 10 years, people are going to do the same like they did with the prequels.
They will. It will, because they all do.
Yeah.
They all do. They all, I mean, the only thing that was received well in the very beginning were the original, you know, the original trilogy, the original first 4, 5, and 6 were received well, and they stand the test of time. Prequels, when they actually dropped, of course, you know, when we got Phantom Menace, people loved it at first, then they hated it because of certain characters, and it was basically, you know, divisive even then. We got Attack of the Clones, it was extremely divisive. You know, people didn't like, you know, the Anakin Skywalker whining, and you know, we didn't really like that. When we got, you know, Revenge of the Sith, you know, we were basically back to the bare bone of what, you know, Star Wars meant, you know, as far as what it gave us. We got a chance to see, you know, the fall of Anakin finally, and it kind of wrapped it up in a bow in itself, you know, and it was divisive, and a lot of people didn't like it in the very beginning. And now, you know, here is, you know, we got Anakin, you know, coming back. We got Hayden Christensen coming back because people embrace him. You know, I think, you know, with these films, even though right now a lot of people, and like I said, they're divisive, but I think, you know, it's just going to stay. We just need years. We need years to get over the divisiveness. We need years to kind of just, you know, dissect the films. The only problem, and this is what I always tell people, hate or love the prequels if you want to. You can hate it, you can love it. But it was still a cohesive storyline from beginning to end. The original 4, 5, and 6, cohesive. You can see where Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker were disjointed. You can see it. You can visually see that they had different directions, and they didn't know where they were going with it and how it basically played out. And that they didn't sit down at the table and say, look, this is how we're going to map these films out. We have the beginning, we have the middle, we have the end. And this is the journey we want to see these characters go on. I mean, we weren't even supposed to basically have Poe in the second film. He was supposed to die in The Force Awakens. His death scene was supposed to happen then, but JJ rewrote him into the next film, or he wrote him to have an extension in The Force Awakens. You know what I mean? Because I guess, you know, he saw potential in the characters, but it was just a simple fact that, like, you know, I think PJ said in the very beginning, they didn't know. They were just saying, you know, here, this is the way the story starts. You finish it. This is what you basically do. No, at least when Kirshner came in to basically do Empire, he knew exactly what Lucas wanted. He knew exactly what George Lucas wanted. Lucas said, look, this is basically the blueprint. This is what I want. You can make it what you can make it your own, give it the feeling that you want, but at least you know the direction. This is what these films did not do. And I think that's what it's going to take time for fans to get over, is a simple fact that you didn't give us direction. And the way you took these characters, it was kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. Unless there's the next sequel trilogy is worse.
Mm.
That's the only time that they
I
would
was
look
about to say
good.
that.
Because it's like going to a bar and you see a girl that's a 6. If you put her next to a 3 and a 5, she would look hot, but she's still a 6. So that's what happened to the prequels.
That's what happened with the prequels, 100%.
That's what happened to the prequels. They compared it to this one, and they're gonna be like, but like you said earlier, Will, I have no connection to the story, so I'm judging this. I love the arc, the story of the progression of Anakin. That is beautiful. But as far as technical wise, filmmaking, that is horrible. The acting is horrible. That destroyed Hayden's career. Like literally destroyed his career.
Yeah.
But like this thing right here, I don't even know what, because at least that could stand on its own because it's a prequel. Like this is what happened to Vader. Look at episode 4. This one, what are they going to continue the saga? Or are they going to continue to a different path altogether? Because if they did, no one's going to remember this trilogy. No one will. If they continue the Mandalorian path and go to another timeline where they didn't even meet, then this would be irrelevant at all. They just made money. So unless would it change? Unless something drastic happens where there's a new trilogy that now, because imagine this, we guys are waiting for the 3 of these guys to merge and one last time while they're here. Are you guys gonna say that to Poe, Adam Driver, and Daisy Ridley? That one day I hope they all get together. Like
I do, but no one else.
I don't think people are gonna want that like later on, but I could be.
They're not even legacy characters, to be honest. Like, I think maybe Kylo and Rey, but the rest of them, they did, they really do their story right, especially Finn. I think Finn, and I think the actor John Boyega even expresses distaste with Disney or Lucasfilms about his treatment of his character. Because he went from this courageous dude, like he's so funny and everyone loved him, to like someone that's like running away and doesn't want to.
Sidekick. They made him a sidekick. That's what they did. They basically when that was the brilliance of the original films. Han wasn't a sidekick. Leia wasn't a sidekick. Honestly, to be quite honest, C-3PO and R2 weren't sidekicks. They were all part of one
Chewbacca
piece. Chewbacca wasn't a sidekick. They were all part of a bigger plan. And you got a chance to see it. It was family. That's what we saw. Finn, we saw so much potential. I love when we got the trailer and he picked up that lightsaber, I was like, it has begun. This is what I've been wanting to see. I'm so happy we saw it. When we got this picture here, when we got that actually as promo, when they start promoting the actual film and I'm like, yo, it says so much of where we could actually take this character. And you know what I mean? But then, to go to like the Rise of Skywalker and say, okay, now we're going to give you a hint of what Finn is and who he really is and what he had. I'm like, yo, why would you wait and do that shit then? You could have did that earlier on.
Yeah, even with the Rise of Skywalker, Leia, like I think they didn't do his character because you hear the memes, like all you hear him say is Ray.
Right.
I'm like, dude, like come on, man, like seriously, that was such a like that just gets me pissed off because he had like almost like the hero's journey.
He did have the hero's journey,
like what I'm saying, like he was this guy who joined the First Order stormtroopers, who realized that what he was doing is wrong. He picks up a lightsaber. He overcomes all these obstacles. Yeah. Even he had his freaking moment in The Last Jedi. That was another thing that pissed me off. He was going to sacrifice himself to save everybody else. You're like, oh, good. Even though I didn't want him to die, but at least I know, like, dude, like he's like, like he's this great. And then boom. Rose Tico takes that away from him. But anyway, not to go back to The Last Jedi. We'll save that for another live stream again. But the thing is, my
he's the only one always going back and forth though.
I know.
He's ready. He's ready to do it tonight.
The thing is, with this movie, will time heal this trilogy? I think if they do what I think they're gonna do with the Ahsoka film, where they kind of I wouldn't say course correct, but basically this is the timeline where okay, people that love the sequel trilogy can follow that timeline, but there's going to be that Ahsoka show with the world between worlds where they introduce that almost like a time travel thing. Isn't I wouldn't say time travel. It's like alternate reality where it comes again. It circles back to the Return of the Jedi. All that story arc, like her fighting Thrawn, meeting Thrawn, going through the world between worlds, and trying to stop the Emperor from going back in time. I don't know. It's just gonna come. I don't know. I heard that Filoni is trying to like bring back where like that timeline where people kind of could follow that, and Anakin is still the chosen one by throwing Emperor off of the off the platform and redeeming himself. Because with this Force Awakens and the rest of the sequel movies, if you watch that, Anakin's not the chosen one. Like it negates that whole thing that he's not. He is the chosen one.
Yeah.
I still think he is.
No, if you follow the timeline of the sequel trilogy, because the Emperor's still alive.
Right, but but like he was like alive and like being a clone type of way. I mean, like he was like living in like a clone's body.
Yeah, but he's still alive.
Right.
He's like like his his essence was
and clearly I don't think that was always the plan. I mean, like I think Snoke was intended to be this sequel's emperor and they killed him. So I mean, and then JJ was like, what am I supposed to do now? And then like I think that's what happened, and then they brought the emperor back because of that. Yeah. So, which sucks, but I still feel like Anakin made the sacrifice and still is the chosen one. I just think it's, the Emperor came back. I mean, like he's a powerful dude. I mean, it happened. So but I'm more concerned that he has a son. Like Emperor was getting busy, and like that just irks me. I don't understand why.
The thing is that now we might find out that whole thing with the Bad Batch, right? Because it's clones and stuff like that, and I think that's why Filoni is gonna. Now, like I said, will time heal this movie and the sequel trilogies? Again, Optical hit the nail on the head. Like if there was a far worse sequel or trilogy after this one, then people will appreciate these movies. But seriously, I don't want any more trilogies worse. You know what I'm saying? Like worse than this one, in terms of divisiveness. And the thing is that that's what people like. I guess like some of the OG fans that dislike the prequels learn to appreciate those prequels because, like what Lael said, it was very cohesive. Even though as a movie it was poorly made, the dialogue was almost childish, right, at times.
Right.
And again, it's because of Lucas. He took on too much. Like he didn't want to. Everybody was a yes man to Lucas. And no one challenged him, and they just followed his orders, and that was the problem,
Breaking news: Screen Rant, Rangers of the New Republic show no longer in active development.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was that the one that Cara Dune was going to be in?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
No doubt. I mean, so they're not going to recast her. It sounds like
they're not going to recast her, and we won't see her back. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Well, I follow her on Instagram, and she is.
She hates Lucasfilm.
No, not even Lucasfilm. She's just not stopping in general. Like,
okay, gotcha.
Like with the
at
politics.
this point, I think she's fully embraced it. So I mean,
yeah. But the thing is, will it heal over time? If Filoni does what I think he's gonna do, or Favreau, because they're actually producing the Ahsoka show, right? Mm-hmm. If they're doing what I think they're gonna do, and that Ahsoka show is supposed to be just like a one shot, that's it. What's the purpose of that Ahsoka show then, right?
I guess to introduce Ahsoka.
To introduce Ahsoka and sell merch.
Yeah.
No, but I think
I don't think you're gonna merge these guys because the one thing that this is coming from an Asian dude who grew up in Asia. One of the reasons why Star Wars is not so good in Asia is because of the magical powers. We just don't like that. We like robots more. And B, man, I feel like you need a PhD to follow Star Wars, right? Like you need, you want me to go back and watch 7 seasons of cartoons? I don't want to do that. That's why Mandalorian picked up so well. You put it out there, you got a cool character, no magic. He's wearing a helmet. He's a badass shooting people. It's like, all right, I'm in. He's like a John Wick of space. Yeah. That's what made it.
It's a Western.
yeah, it's like yeah, pick up and go. Now with Ahsoka, she came out like like I'm hearing it from you guys. You're like, oh man, she looks cool, but I have no idea nothing about her. I'm not gonna watch Clone Wars. So now they're now they're gonna be like, all right, you guys are gonna love her now, kind of like what they did with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now we're gonna make you love Ahsoka, so because she's gonna have her own movie pretty soon, and they already have the story. They just gotta translate it to, and you don't need a PhD. You don't even unlike this sequel. You're gonna be like, oh, who's Palpatine? It was like, yeah, you know what? In 1975, it's like what? I need to watch
Right.
that.
Yeah. Again, and that's what the purpose of the Ahsoka show is going to do. I'm telling you, it's going to like connect with the Mandalorian. It's going to connect with her encounter with that when she fought that, I forgot her name in the, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
The magistrate.
The magistrate, and
She
then
had the
she was
Beskar
like,
spear.
"Oh, where is Thrawn?" or something. You know, I'm telling you, it's all gonna connect. And even though, you know, people might be like, "Oh, I really don't know about World Between Worlds." I mean, Filoni and Favreau have done a great job with the Mandalorian because they kind of introduce a lot of characters there. Where even though you don't know anything about like some of the things that's going on, you still appreciate those characters, like a Bo-Katan. Like you know, when you look at her, you're like, oh man, she looks so cool. But do you need to know her backstory and where she's come from? Not
I would
really.
like that. I would watch a Bo-Katan show.
You kind of have it in the Clone Wars animated show.
That's true, but the problem, I'm kind of with Optical in the Clone Wars. Like, I'm getting into it. I'm pushing through season 1, but I do find it to be very much a struggle. Like, I'm just like it's like not hooking me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just
I only knew Bo-Katan
like-
because you keep on talking about her.
Right.
If-
Yeah,
if
but-
I'm
but-
not
and she looks like
friends with
John
you guys,
Cena.
I'm
But-
gonna be
but-
like, who the hell is this lady?
But my
Look like
point
John
is,
Cena.
yeah, but my point is that you guys are still liking the character. And
oh, I
now
love
you
her in
know-
The Mandalorian. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, and again, that's the great way. Like it's almost like they don't need to you don't need to watch the backstory to understand
No.
her story. You could just watch it and still enjoy it. So I think that's why when they introduced the Ahsoka movie, I still think that casual fans are still going to follow it because they're following the Mandalorian. You know, and they're just going to totally understand everything. I mean, there's clones introduced in the Mandalorian, like, you know, and you're still following and you're still enjoying the movie and the show. So
I think now is the point where like Lucasfilms and this is they're not doing all these show for fan service. They're trying to make money, right? And they see the potential in Asia, in China, because they are not good in Asia. That's why you see Donnie Yen in Rogue One, Rose Tico in some of the movies, because they're trying to crack the Asian market. And by introducing Mandalorian, I was like, hey guys, you don't need to study Star Wars. Plus, I'm pretty sure they want to move on from A New Hope and all that stuff, because those guys are not going to be around forever. At some point, you got to move forward. And I feel like they're ushering in this new Clone Wars, but they just got to make it live action, because if they're going to ask the Asian market to watch Clone Wars, yeah, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
yeah, I think you know what it is though. Like, you know, for me, I think that with Lucasfilms, I don't think they're trying to like. I think them capturing the Asian market with the Mandalorian was just more of a surprise. I don't think that's their go-to. Like they already have Marvel for that. Like they already captured
Right.
the Marvel, the Asians with the Marvel universe. I just think that you know, with this one, I think they're basically what Filoni and Favreau. I think what they're trying to do is wrap up the Skywalker saga. I think right now there is a lot of unfinished business, you could say. You know, because why would they do an Ahsoka show with the World Between Worlds? They could have not explored that. You know, and I think that's why they're diving into this, because they kind of want to wrap everything up in a nice bow and send it off, and then people can move on. And like they're trying to, the next thing that they're gonna push is High Republic.
Right.
You know, they're coming out with the books and comic books now, and they're pushing that super hard, right? And then after that, they're gonna like move. You know, like they're gonna have like that universe, and then after that, they might do the Old Republic, because they've been kind of teasing Revan here and there.
Yeah, but what's really yeah, they definitely have. But what's really interesting is like PJ, I think that it brings up an interesting question. The fact that I think people crap on these characters, you know, in the sequels, but at the same time, I've seen a lot of excitement for the idea of a Kylo show, for seeing Rey show up in Mandalorian. Like, do you guys want to see the sequel characters show up in other things? Do you think people would like that or want them to be redeemed, so to speak?
I don't think it would make sense to show up in Mandalorian though. That's the only thing.
Right, because the timeline. But
because of the
in a Luke
timeline,
show,
it would make
Kylo
sense.
could be a kid. You know.
I think if anything, like I said, Ray. Look, we've in order for them to move beyond, they're going to have to go a totally different route. Now we know that Ray is a Jedi. We know that she basically has, the Jedi text. We know that she studied it. We know that she's basically read it. She's been trained a bit by Leia. She did, with the help of, the Jedi of old, help her to defeat Palpatine. Kylo gave his life so she can basically live. There's a lot that she's been through as a character. Now, I think that it's time for her to basically settle in, become the Jedi that we all know that she's supposed to be, and on top of that, help to give Finn a redemption story. Because the way they treated him in these films, he didn't have that opportunity to grow. And the thing is, we have to also keep in mind that it wasn't just Finn that we discovered was Force sensitive. When he was basically on the ship talking to forget the name of the other character in the film. She was also a trained stormtrooper at that time, but she also, the Force arose in her as well. So she, was Force sensitive. We did discover these things about these characters. So it has the opportunity now for Rey to take her a step forward. Don't try to introduce her with, everybody else. Don't try to take her back and introduce her or place her, in the Mandalorian or tie her in with the other characters of old. Just take her somewhere else, a totally new. In order for the character, or like you said, the sequel trilogy, it may not get the redemption that it needs, but at least you're plucking certain characters from the show that have potential, and you can take those characters and start something new and completely wipe away the bad taste that we actually got in the other films. I think that would be the perfect opportunity or the perfect way for them to actually go. Just completely take these characters, pluck them out, give them a story, give them the right story, a well-written story. And I think the person who can actually do that, who's proven that he can do it, is Dave Filoni. He can do that. He can not course correct, but he can actually take these characters and give them a fitting ending or give them a fitting story.
And Leo, I think you're right. I don't mean like have them show up in Mandalorian show. I feel like them have their own show. Like I feel like maybe Kylo and Rey have their own show. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like something else, like Kylo maybe before, like maybe that could lead up to the Knights of Ren and him going to Luke's temple and slaughtering the students. Stuff like that might be kind of cool to see.
Oh, another missed opportunity. The Knights of Ren.
Yeah, I still love the Knights of Ren, but I 100% agree. They were, they are what they are. They're Praetorian guards, basically. I mean, like they're meant to look cool and kind of be throwaway. I mean, but there should have been more to them.
At least the Praetorian guards had a chance, though.
Right.
Yeah,
they had a chance. Right. We got to see them get busy, and I love the Praetorian.
They were sick in that fight.
They got busy, but you know what I mean. We got a chance to see that. But you basically teased us with the Knights of Ren in both films just to get them to the Rise of Skywalker and just Boba Fett them.
Well, is Kylo Ren dead, or he's like Darth Maul dead, or Palpatine?
He's dead.
Is he dead?
I think honestly the reason to kill him was because I think they knew. I mean, honestly, I think the hardest part for me is that I don't think Adam Driver was gonna want to come back. So I think that's probably why they killed him, because they probably knew that. And maybe you could convince him to do a season of a show, kind of like Obi-Wan's doing. Maybe you could do a 6-episode show with him and he'd do it. But I think that was more the reason. Like they probably thought Daisy Ridley, we can get her. Like she's a new Jedi, we can get her back. But Adam Driver, he's become such a big star now. I mean, like he's like nominated for Oscars. I mean, like he's become a mega star. So I think harder to get him back.
I'll ask PJ this. So PJ, did you watch Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah.
Would you like a prequel of Jon Snow knowing what happened?
Yeah, I don't want to.
Jon Snow, maybe not. But
I don't want a prequel of Game of Thrones because I just feel like it's done.
Just redo the whole 8th season.
Well, no, but the thing is, George R.R. Martin is not even involved in that. Like you don't know where they're making. You know what I'm saying?
My point is like with this, if we bring back this characters from a movie that's not even beloved, why?
Kylo is beloved, though, I think. I mean, not beloved, but I feel like a lot of people like Kylo. They can pick him out of a trilogy they don't like and say, I like that.
Kylo was, like I mentioned earlier, Kylo is like the 7 in a girl that you just pick in a bunch of 5s. So
I don't know, man. These Hot Toys figures of Kylo, I mean, even Rey, but people are wanting these figures, not just because they look good, but I think people like the characters more than than most people realize. At least Kylo.
Yeah, but the thing is, as a Star Wars fan, he's the best thing in the sequel
I agree
trilogy.
with that.
Like,
It's not saying much though.
yeah, that's not saying me. Exactly, that's not.
It's like you're the tallest midget. You're the tallest.
I would like to
Right.
see the tallest midget. No, but the thing is,
Yeah. I think
how-
people see
How does that
potential-
even look like a tall midget?
You're forced.
Probably just a normal height person. But, like, I think like people see the potential in his character. At least that's kind of my point.
Yeah. No, again, like for me, like I think it's going to be hard to bring a lot of these actors back because a lot of them left with with a bad taste in their mouth,
Right.
especially John Boyega and actually Poe Dameron. What's his name? Oscar Isaac. He even said
Right.
it. He doesn't want to come back and do a Star Wars film.
No,
he
he's
just
done.
doesn't. Just because he just had such a bad experience with not only being on set and like the way his direction of his character went. But yeah, it's just like in general, like I don't know. Like he said it. I forgot where he said it, but he was on record saying that he doesn't want to come back for.
He's a great actor too, man.
He's
Yeah,
a
he's
great
really
actor,
good.
and he really liked being in Star Wars. That's why he didn't want his character to be killed off. But to say that, John Boyega, I mean, he's very vocal about, his character development, and I think, to be honest, like I think it was his script that got leaked. Right, like his script, he left his script.
That was him under the bed. He left the script under the bed. Yeah.
I wonder if he did that on purpose. Because
Probably
he
did.
probably did. He's like, he read this. He's like, I don't want to keep this shit. Like, like I'm not keeping this a secret. Let the whole world know how crappy this movie is gonna be. Again, I just think that I don't know. Like Leo said, if Filoni comes in and head on and was like, guys, I'm gonna try and fix the sequel trilogies by, making backstories or other stories to kind of make the sequel trilogies better. I think he can do that because he did that with the prequels. He made even though you guys didn't like it, but the Clone Wars animated show really developed Anakin Skywalker's journey to the dark side. I think it developed Ahsoka. And Ahsoka was one of the main reasons why Anakin went to the dark side, And again, I think with Filoni being the creative producer of Lucasfilms, I think he could do it. I don't know. We shall see. Time will tell. Time can only tell. And, who knows? 10 years from now, a First Order Stormtrooper might be worth like $500 on eBay.
Yes.
Book it. No, the articulation is too shit for that to happen.
I think the design kind of sucks. So
Right. But yeah, I mean, like, it's an interesting discussion for sure. And I think here's something that I think I want to touch on real quick here. So we talked a little bit briefly about the old heroes. What do you guys think, other than putting them on screen at the same time? Like, what do you think we could have done in The Force Awakens to maybe give the old heroes a little more justice, make the fans happier?
I think what you should not have done is, now granted, I think, and I believe it might have actually even been in Harrison Ford's contract to kill him off in the first film. So I think what they should have did, knowing that that was pretty much what he wanted, his wishes, and probably the only reason why he came back. I think that what they should have actually done was at least introduce the characters one by one and maybe give them a little bit of banter back and forth. You know what I mean? Give them something to latch on to. I think that that's possibly, I can't even say that's what they wanted to do with The Last Jedi, because we already see where that went. But I think that, with the old heroes, even if you're not going to give them to us all on screen together, I do think that they should have been in the film. Even if they were going to be, they should have been in the film with, like, especially Luke should have been in the film with more dialogue. You know what I mean? Going into, because I remember reading this, when The Force Awakens was released, and right after The Last Jedi, was released, people were like, and it was one guy who was like, what should have actually happened? Luke should have came in, saved the day, took, Rey, basically should have actually, took her away, to let her know that at that point she was not ready to fight Kylo. She wasn't ready to face, if she would have actually tried to kill Kylo at that end, she would have became everything that she shouldn't have been. You know what I mean? They were talking about that and how that would have been a positive, direction, for, Luke's character. But I think that in The Force Awakens, they just ending it off with him not really with zero dialogue. We just seeing him for a couple minutes after you've killed off Han and not really having a connection between. Because honestly, I think that Leia should have went with Rey to find her brother. She should have. She should have went with Rey, especially knowing that she had already trained with Luke. Having both of them train her together, that would have been, bro, that would have been massive. That would have been received well at that particular point. That's the part of the film that really made no sense. You know where your brother is, yet you're going to send her, someone who doesn't even know him, he doesn't even know her, you're sending her to find your brother. It would have been more convincing if you would have went with her, let him know that, look, my son killed his father. Luke would have been like, okay,
it's on.
This is what we have to do. But it was a plot. It just made absolutely no sense at all. And I think that's why there was no cohesion between the first and the second film. I think they should have. It should have been, that opportunity should have been given in the first film, bro. It should have been given. And you know what? Honestly. And I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say this to him blue in the face. I'm not gonna cuss on here, right? I'm just gonna leave it alone. But freak whatever Harrison Ford has to say. Look, we paying you, bro. If you want that money, you're gonna have to last into the second film, bro. Because really, right now, you're not doing much. That film that I actually seen, that film with the dog? Come on, bro. You played yourself. Like, you're not really doing much right now, man.
The dog.
Hey,
yeah,
I like
it's true.
that movie.
It's true. That CGI dog was really odd.
But you're not.
That was a
doing much
CGI
right
dog.
now.
It was CGI, yeah. Well, maybe it was good then if you didn't think it was. So, yeah.
No, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it.
Oh, okay, guys.
It was
CGI.
terrible. I hated that.
I didn't see it, but I
was
kind
terrible.
of sniffed it from.
I just didn't know it was a CGI dog.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, bro, you don't want to do a film. You don't want to come back and be part of a film that practically started your career, but yet you want to come back and be an old Indiana Jones. Come on, bro. Like, seriously, sometimes you have to let certain look. I'm okay. You want to come back? That's fine. But bro, you're going to be 80 something years old. You're not going to be able to do half to. So what is it going to be? Another son? What are we going to see on screen? So that's what I'm saying. Like, look, as a director and as a studio paying an actor, they should have been like, look, we need you back. Or if you don't want to do it, then don't be a part of it. But we can't kill you off. Or if you want to actually be here, there just should have been more. They should have somehow bridged the gap with all three of these characters, bro. Somehow brought them in just so the fans can see them one last time together, but then pass the torch gracefully, bro. They should have done
Exactly. That's what I was expecting, to be honest. When they said, "Oh, we're signing on Harrison Ford, Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher," I thought they were, and like we got new. Three main characters, right? They said three new main characters, Finn, Poe, and Rey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, they're gonna pass the baton to them, and then this is gonna be the characters that we grow and love. But it was only one character, if anything, that we grew to love, and that was Rey. Poe and Finn were just like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
You know. And again, I just think that. They missed a lot of opportunities with the old characters. It's like, why even bring them back if you're gonna crap on them? What the hell was the main point of them? Was to bring them back to make them look bad? Like, seriously, you brought back Mark Hamill to make him look like that?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
If you watch wrestling, like when somebody's about to go out, they call it putting somebody over the top. If Undertaker's going to retire, he's going to fight a young guy and he's going to make him look good by, the young guy beating him and to make it convincing, right? So that he looks like a strong guy because he just beat the Undertaker, for example. I thought that was the case in here. But Harrison Ford died and nothing changed. Like I didn't look Kylo differently. Kind of like he's not a badass to me when he did that. I don't think like they were just there for. They didn't utilize them the right way. They were supposed to put those young kids over the top, but instead they're kind of like became what the main attraction because I guess it's not their fault that the young guys aren't just cutting it out. Although if we're just talking about the Force Awakens, I think they did pretty good. But I think like Harrison Ford's death.
Yeah, I think they do that with Han in this film pretty effectively. I think that Leia because she's kind of really not in it that much. She says a few things. Here's some plans. Let's go do this. Let's blow up the Starkiller base. But Harrison Ford, Han takes a pretty significant role in this film. I mean, like he leads the charge for a lot of it. Like, I mean, he's guiding these new characters. Like, he really does. Like you said, Optical, they put him over the top. I mean, I think what people were upset about is that he died. But I mean, like, honestly, I feel for me, like as a new Star Wars fan, I knew who Han Solo was. Obviously, I'd seen the originals. Like, I feel like that was a really powerful moment to have a son kill a father like that. Like, it's the opposite of what happened with Luke, right? I mean, like, I feel like that was pretty interesting. Like, I feel like, and I think Han dying is never going to be an easy pill to swallow. I mean, like, that's like I've talked about it a million times, like Joel dying in The Last of Us, right? Like, I don't love that. I would have been fine with him dying, just not how it happened. I feel like Harrison Ford with Han, I feel like that happened in a way that made sense. I think like that more so like made sense with the story. And I just feel like if Harrison Ford doesn't want to do it, then there's really not much more that can be done. I mean, like, I get we're paying him and everything, like you said, Leal, but if he doesn't want to do it, he wanted to be killed off long before this. So like he was just done with Star Wars, I think. And I think he did this more so for the payday. I mean, like, that's really what it was.
You guys were describing, like you said earlier, you have to theorize it. Like us, who doesn't read on blogs, doesn't even know what. Well, okay, did he press it? What? It like never to me. I don't read forums or Reddit, it didn't make any sense. Okay, he stabbed him there. Like it could have been more impactful. Is what I'm trying to say. Like I don't know. Like he's shouting, took up something.
But you know what contradicts that whole thing? Is the simple fact that we see him in Rise of Skywalker. He came back.
Right.
He came back to shoot that small little scene. Like, you know what I mean?
True.
So if you didn't want anything to do with the rest of the films, why did you come back?
No, I think
it's the money.
No. I really think it might be the money, but I really think after Carrie Fisher's death.
Oh, maybe that. Yeah.
I think Harrison Ford just kind of came to realization that Star Wars really, helped all their careers. Because I think he was a little bit more involved, and he's showed up, and like he wasn't as, I don't know, spiteful towards Star Wars. Like he wasn't.
He still is. If you hear some of the stuff that he says now, bro, he still is.
Do you guys think like he doesn't appreciate or like Star Wars anymore?
I just think that he basically doesn't. He wanted, like, again, he wanted to be done. He wanted to be done after Empire. After Empire, he wanted to be done with it. Even if you watch a lot of documentaries, he talks about as soon as the success of Star Wars itself, of A New Hope, he was like, payday. Now it's time to really go to work. Now I can get all these other roles. Granted, he's done some great films. I get that, but at the same time, it's just like, come on, man. Like, okay, yes, you're doing other films, but don't excuse for the lack of the word, don't shit where you eat. You know what I mean? Like basically, Star Wars is responsible for your career, because before you did that, all you did was graffiti, American Graffiti. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that is responsible for your career. So, I mean, kind of give it some type of credit, bro.
Yeah, and he was working on the set. He was the carpenter.
Yeah,
he was just that, like, he was like George Lucas was asking him to stand in to do lines with the other actors that was supposed to be casted. And I don't know. I just think that, like, by the way, that scene, by Harrison Ford, I think that scene was so, like, to me, like, that also not only killed Han Solo, but it killed any redemption for Kylo Ren.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Because dude, that's hard, man. I know
it's so hard to come back from. I agree.
I know Anakin killed the younglings and everything like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, the younglings, they weren't his kids. I mean, I think if Anakin, and I don't know, some people might say,
and also Anakin's not trying to be redeemed. I mean, it's up in the original trilogy, but that was before. I mean, like, if it had gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in sequential order, that still would have been tough. I mean, with him killing those kids like that, if people had seen that first and then it gone the other way, that would have been definitely something to think about.
At least you can be like, hey, he had to do it in his mind at least. He got to do what he got to do. He'll to save.
Right.
Yeah, and then him killing. Well, he really didn't mean to kill Padme. I think Padme died of sadness, which is like another poor writing by George Lucas. But like he didn't. He loved her. He didn't mean to kill her. Like Kylo Ren meant to kill Harrison Ford. I mean Han Solo. Like he just he turned it on.
Or did he?
And
maybe Han did it, and they were going to go that route, and they changed their mind.
Because y'all kind of opened me up to that perspective, or did he?
That was my theory when Force Awakens came out. I was convinced.
Yeah.
I was convinced that's what happened.
Because
why would he say thank you?
If you're theorizing something, that kind of like with Padme, they were like, she didn't die of sadness. She died because the Force is being drained out of her because of Anakin's rage. It's like, dude, if you gotta explain yourself in the chair of the director, he didn't do a good job. But
yeah. I just I don't I know
Nicolio Production.
He's on the Vicha Miche.
Yo, shout out to Nicolio Productions, bro.
Hey man, you gotta loosen up sometimes. You gotta play with that lightsaber every once in a while, bro.
Bro, I don't know. He killed a lot of kids. He killed some children. If they had showed that,
hey man, don't tell me you don't kill a lot of kids in the bathroom, man. A bunch of kids now.
Oh my God! Look at PJ. Yo,
that could have been kids, man. Washed down.
Oh man.
Oh God. Okay,
wow.
that went.
It went totally off the rails.
It's always off the rails when it comes to the beat the meat.
I'm highlighting my own comment.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God! Wow.
Actually, Logan Kalangi makes a great point. He goes, "I love that Kylo killing Han would make him stronger, but it only made him weaker."
Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
I wish they explored that a little more. Well, there's a lot of things that I wish they explored.
Very true. Very true.
Hairstyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also again, he said, "Love that he was revisiting the pull to the light. Interesting idea, but again, poorly executed." Yeah, I understand that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like I said, someone who loves the sequel trilogy, I can at least acknowledge like there definitely was like an issue with cohesiveness.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I think if JJ had directed all three, I don't think we would have felt that way. I think we would have had a consistent vision. And JJ wasn't even supposed to direct the third one. I mean, like they kind of brought him back because they didn't like what Colin Trevorrow had come up with, and they were like, "Let's bring JJ back," because Force Awakens went over pretty well. So that's what happened.
Isn't that sad though? Like you got Marvel like that is able to make 20 plus movies like cohesive
and years in advance. Yeah,
plan them all out. But here you are with 3 Star Wars movies, and you can't make them bond together. Like that's sad. I mean, that's just sad.
I think Marvel did some bad movies like Iron Man 2 and 3. The only difference I would say is that they never really stepped on anyone's foot, unlike this sequel, where they kind of did Luke Skywalker wrong there. So
I was gonna say, by the way, ding ding beat the meat crew in the house. If the beat the meat crew is gonna go to Star Wars Celebration and you guys are beating your meat around us,
yes.
That would be.
I would love that. Please do that and come up to us.
No.
Please do that and come up to us and just like beat the meat. Oh my God. I'd love to meet you guys and have you do that.
Oh no.
Do it in front of PJ especially.
No. Can you imagine? They're like click, 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 click.
You're right. Let's be like this.
Wow.
Leo came back at just the right time.
And now, Leia, I was telling them, like, for the people that, like, because I think we're, Beatmaster, you're going to a celebration, right?
Anytime where there's beat, I'm in there.
Oh my God.
Well, PJ, like, I'm trying to get tickets. I need to find a ticket. I can't find
Don't get them again. Don't get them now. Wait till like a couple months before.
Yeah, because I saw someone was listing them for like $90,000.
No,
I was like,
don't-
what
no,
the hell?
no.
Yeah, they're it's like outrage because I tried to actually contact ReedPop because I'm like, well, if you're moving the dates and you're talking about a lot of people who probably got a return on tickets, there has to be some spaces available. So
Yeah.
how would
Just,
I don't know.
You just gotta go, and for the people watching, this is a good way to get your tickets because that's how I got my tickets to Chicago. I got like a 4 or 5 day pass,
Right.
and I got it from a guy on the Facebook groups. I joined. Yeah, I joined this. I'm part of a couple of Star Wars Celebration Anaheim groups.
Yeah.
And dude, like dude, I'm telling you, like as we get closer to the dates, people will drop off and they'll sell their tickets, and they'll be desperate to sell their tickets. They'll be like, "Oh, buy this for like face value or less than face value," and I got my tickets for just about face value, And it was cool because the guy that I bought it from, because you could enter your tickets to go into a raffle to go into the panels and stuff. So he helped me get into some of the panels. He was like, "Oh yeah, dude, you won Rise of Skywalker Rise of Skywalker panel." I was like, "Oh shoot, really?" I was like, "Yeah, cool." And it's cool because I got to sit near the press box because his tickets were pretty close. So yeah.
Yeah, and PJ, what's really interesting, I wanted to ask you this for the longest time. Like, I think I saw one of your videos a while back where I think you were at a celebration, you were reacting to the Rise of Skywalker trailer, right?
Yeah.
And you were like losing your shit,
Yeah.
right? After
Yeah.
you hated The Last Jedi. So like that's what I want to know. I'm like,
Yeah.
what happened? Were you just maybe caught up in the Star Wars moment, or were you still excited to see what
It's
they
probably
were doing?
after watching the film.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean,
Because I'm just curious, like
Did you
Star
not
Wars fans
beat
are
your
like
meat
that.
for a few days because all that amped up
That's what it was. He was just
Yeah.
so amped up.
coconuts.
yeah, because I was in the hotel and I just didn't, But anyway,
I'm just curious, yeah.
no, the thing is, I think, we were just really like the energy. Like I'm telling you, it's like a different energy when you go to Celebration. All the like divisiveness and all the toxicity is out. Like I basically
Nice.
the people that really love Star Wars go to Celebration, and they're the ones that are not toxic. They're not the toxic fans. I feel like the toxic fans are like more like, they're not really into Star Wars, right? They can't carry a conversation with a Star Wars fan. They're just there to be negative and just, they might be Harry Potter fans. I don't know. But the thing is, like, I think the fact that Ian McDermott, like, to hear him do the Emperor laugh,
Yeah.
and I even said it in the trailer when I was there and I made that video. I was just like, I was really excited because I didn't know where what they were going to do to have a major villain now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because they killed off Snoke. So who's the main villain? So, when they said they were announcing Emperor Palpatine, I was like, cool, like, I understand why they brought him back, but then they started like making weird connections, which I'm sure we'll dive into the Rise of Skywalker live stream another time. But at that moment in time, I think I couldn't find any better bad guy,
Right.
than Emperor Palpatine, So, and so when
Yeah. And I think my assumption was like, even as huge Star Wars fans, like we all are, I mean, like, I think even if you're not loving the previous film, you're still excited for new Star Wars content. And I think that's the point I really want to drive home. Like, even if you didn't love The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, you see the trailer and you're still excited. 'cause you
my
wanna be
gosh,
hopeful.
breaking news. Oh my gosh, breaking news. I gotta
No,
break this.
go for it. Can you share your screen? if
Oh
you need
my
to?
gosh, breaking news. Bring out the money. Bring out the money. Bring out the money.
Oh my God. Oh shit. Damn.
What is this?
That is sick. Oh my God. This has become not even a Star Wars show anymore. Dude,
It's gonna be
2022 though.
It's gonna
What
be
is that? What was that?
It's Prime 1 Last of Us statues.
Oh, okay.
Guys, The Last of Us. Optical knows. Optical. Tell the people about Last of Us 1.
It's all right.
Which we got to do a live stream about.
Oh my God. Damn, PJ. I should have known that was coming, man.
Actually, I didn't expect their live stream to be.
But the way you reacted, I thought like Kate Upton was there.
It's close enough. Close enough to that.
Will like jumped off his seat, man.
I should have ran through the house, honestly. But as long as it's not Last of Us 2, it was Last of Us 1, right?
It's Last of Us.
Well, as long as they're making an Abby statue.
Don't even do that to me. Don't even put that evil on me.
Yo,
PJ.
she is. I'm telling you, like she's pretty.
Guys, PJ really wants Abby to choke him out. He said this to us multiple times. He
Why
said
do you like females to hurt you when you're moving?
he likes being hurt.
That's what
I don't
I'm
know it
wondering,
is.
man. You talking about choking you from behind and
Yeah,
all
that's what he said.
I'm like, yo, PJ, bro, like,
Why?
what's going on, man?
Leo, you haven't played Last of Us 2, I don't think, but that scene with
No,
Abby,
I didn't.
PJ said he watched it like over and over. He told me. So
which scene would Abby?
I'll
There's-
send it. I'll send it to you.
send it to you. But there's like an intimate sex scene in that game, and like PJ like envisions himself, but he envisions himself in Abby's position and her choking him from behind. So like, that's what he told me.
I want to be a rear naked choke by Abby.
It's true. Go watch the scene layout and just think of PJ in Abby's position, and then you're good. You got the visual.
Just swap it out. Yeah.
Oh god.
I'm sorry if my reaction was excessive, guys, but Last of Us statues from Prime
I know.
That's a game changer.
I was just more excited for you. I was just like, even though I'm not gonna get it, I was just more excited. I had to like.
They got to be Joel and Ellie. It's probably gonna be both of them together. Yeah,
That'd be good, dude. Like, I know you've been wanting a dude. I know that's gonna be a day one pre-order for you. Which we have to talk about it, like in the on
For sure.
Oh, I'm
So-
excited to talk about that. So
yeah. So okay, guys. With this Force Awakens chat, I think the last thing, kind of like we talked about, consensus. We all like it. We all think it's good. We don't like. I think it's amazing. You guys think it's pretty good. So like, I think we're all pretty much on the same page. 10 years from now, you guys think Optical said he doesn't think it's going to change, but I kind of think it might. And you guys, just sum up your thoughts. You think it might change a little bit?
you mean like
The consensus on Force Awakens, like what it'll be viewed as.
I think people like it anyway. Like a
Yeah.
lot of people like it. So I don't think
man.
it's
I
gonna
think it's
change.
changed in hindsight.
People dislike it.
I think because of the two Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, I think people dislike it now.
I think people forget that they liked it at the time.
That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
They liked it at the time. Everyone seemed to love it when it came out, but then Last Jedi came out and then they decided they didn't like it anymore. So that's what I at least saw.
I just think they just dislike the sequel trilogy as a whole.
Yeah, because like Leo says, it's kind of hard because we're talking about it now as an individual movie.
Yeah.
But if you talk about the sequel, it's kind of hard. Like we purposely are doing that so we can
Yeah.
focus on one movie. But
Yeah.
in totality, it's kind of hard to separate that from the two.
From
so
the
he-
two, yeah.
Yeah, so she can't. This Force Awakens gets kind of pulled to the negativity of the other two, even though by itself it's a good movie. Kind of like Game of Thrones. It's this
Right.
amazing 6 seasons.
Right.
It's 6 whatever. Yeah, and then the failed.
Season 7's pretty good. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's solid. It's not the best, but it's solid.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think even with the Game of Thrones and even with the sequel trilogy, is that like, and it's just one of those things where if you don't have like the creator like kind of help you write the direction of the characters and where they should be going, I just think that it becomes divisive because with the Game of Thrones, like it starts sucking because George R.R. Martin hasn't finished writing all the books yet, so they had to keep on going because people wanted to see the rest of the seasons, and the actors were getting old. Like some of the young actors, like some of the younger actors, they were old already. I mean, the guy, what's his name? Bran of the like he was like a little kid, and now he's like
like a
this
beard,
big.
man.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's big, this big dude like in a wheelchair. You're like, what the hell?
It's kind of happening with Stranger Things a little bit too.
yeah.
Yeah,
the kids
so
are
What
getting
is
older.
George R.R. waiting anyway? That
Oh, he-
Dude,
goddamn thing was 7 years.
it's not getting those series are not getting finished. It's not
He's a-
happening. Just book it. It's not getting done.
he's a dick. Anyway,
I
no,
don't know if
because
he's a dick, but I just think
Repeat him?
he's more interested in the shows, and I think he's tired
Yeah.
of writing. True Optical.
yeah, like he wrote one of the books and he totally scrapped it because he didn't like it. Like he finished the book and it took forever. I forgot what book it was, and then he just said, "Fuck it, like let me
And
rewrite
like,
this."
and you
again."
guys know, season 8 wasn't his fault. I mean, that was D&D's fault. It was an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I think we're all on the same page with this for the most part. I mean, I kind of think in 10 years, I think people tend to view things with rose tinted glasses in hindsight. So I mean, like prequels now are good. there's probably any number of things you can point at that weren't great at the time. Like even like Batman v Superman. I feel like that one's definitely improved over time. You know what I mean? Like that, like when it came out, I don't think people liked it that much, but I think now they've decided they do.
The moment it came out, you're the only one who didn't think it was good.
You don't even like BVS, do you?
I love BVS.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you liked Man of Steel, but not BVS.
I love all of Zack Snyder's film.
Oh.
I'm not even kidding. I think Zack Snyder should do the next Star Wars, so it's on black and white.
and 4x3.
I actually like.
We gotta
like
watch
Zack
Army of the Dead.
Oh yeah, we gotta, dude. Can we do a movie review in your thing?
Yeah, that came out today. I gotta watch it.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it came out today.
Crap.
I think it's on Netflix.
God damn, I gotta do a stream on Monday then. I gotta get some.
Yeah, I think it came out today. Yeah, it's on Netflix now. I think.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, so I'm excited to watch it. I'm really excited I might try to watch it tomorrow or something.
Yeah.
It's like 2.5 hours though.
All right. Well, I'll
all
beat,
his movies.
I'll beat the meat right before.
You gotta
eat it well before.
Actually, no, after. It should be after, right? Because I'll be tired.
I can't focus if I don't do that. Especially, like it's getting warm now and the air conditioning is on.
Yeah, you gotta think that stuff through.
What are you gonna do with it?
It's true, man. You gotta think of
And
that
if
stuff through.
the movie is too long, it comes back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which Zack Snyder movies tend to be.
Again, guys. I think we mentioned earlier. If you guys come up to us in celebrations beating the meat, I don't know.
Bravo from me.
Yeah,
don't beat your meat on me. Just separate yourself. As a matter of fact, just stand across the room. Just motion.
You know when it's about to come out. Because I don't like Neo dodging that shit like Matrix.
True, like Neo. Feel free to
wait.
choke
We
PJ,
talk
though.
about like eating the meat, right? Like
just like take a piece of meat and tenderize it.
Juice coming out of that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there's plenty of juice, and like I said, feel free to choke PJ. He's into it. Choke PJ, just come on and be like, "Gotcha," and he'll be like, "Oh my god." PJ will be like, "That's awesome."
If you have the arms of Abby, maybe.
Right.
Don't stop.
This is really going off the.
That's what happens at the end of the streams, I feel like.
Oh,
okay,
God.
so guys, to wrap up, PJ, you got anything coming out soon?
I got so speaking of the sequel trilogy, I actually have Rey and Kylo. I got them in.
Oh, I'm
Hot
glad
Toys.
that you got that first batch because now you're in a third batch, bro. Now.
Yeah, I know.
I still don't have mine
paid
yet
first
because I
batch,
had regular
you're in the
shipping.
Third batch.
Oh no, well with the Kylo, I paid retail for him because I pre-ordered him like a while. But it was just like with Rey, I only overpaid a little bit, like $40. But I chose EMS, which is free shipping, so that kind of helped out. So yeah, no, that one I really didn't want to get that Rey. Seriously, I didn't want to get that Rey, but I really no, I didn't. I just bought it because I gotta see this hype. People are calling it like one of the best figures they've ever seen. So I don't know. I gotta see it. So
Okay. So
when we get off the live stream, you got to tell me where you got it from and how you got it, and how much you paid for it, bro. Because let me know.
Yeah. The thing is, so I'm getting back into doing reviews now. So I know Optical's like, damn, it's been a month since you did our last review.
It really is a month. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long time, but I got a lot of things planned. I got my groove back. Just like Stella got my groove back. So anyway, yeah. Or just like Abby, I got my groove back. Oh, here we go.
There she is.
Oh goodness.
Beautiful.
Oh,
sorry, that's the wrong one.
Oh man, yeah, this is gonna be fun. So yeah, I got that coming up soon. So got a lot of Star Wars stuff coming up. So
Cool. All right, so Optical, what's coming up for you?
So I'm gonna start watching The Last Jedi tomorrow. Bad part is I don't have any figures for that, so I probably won't take any pictures. But
You don't have any Last Jedi figures?
no, thank God. No, what else do I have? I got like a home suit Spider-Man Nebula. I'm waiting for Star Ace to give me more figures. But
Are they gonna
won't.
send you Beatrix?
No.
Star Ace. Oh yeah. By the way, I watched your James Dean Star Ace.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, you seen the horse?
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude, that
yeah.
horse would be sick for a John Wick figure too.
It is.
That's a nice horse for a 1/6 scale horse. That's a pretty
It's
nice.
105, which is not bad at all. Because
You could actually use. Could you use it for Jon Snow? Maybe like put it next to him.
you could, yeah, put him on Rambo, John Wick,
Right.
Lord of the Rings. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I'm glad that they did that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't buy anything new. I'm contemplating on canceling that Mandalorian. I know I told you guys earlier, but
Don't do
Right.
it. Yeah,
Don't do it, man. I think you'll really like it. That's a
Yeah.
really good figure.
Yeah, that's a good figure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Leia, what's going up with you, man?
Just a few more reviews. I actually have the Beskar Mando. I had that review done. I just never actually put it up, so I'm putting it up tonight. So you can probably expect that, probably later on in the morning. Sometime I still have that. I still have the oh man, what else? I'm just going a couple of reviews that I actually recorded. I have that anti-ox suit coming, so that should be here, pretty soon. Yeah.
Ooh, nice. I'm looking forward to that review.
Yeah. I couldn't hold back. I had to actually get that ASAP. But yeah, just a couple of reviews coming. I actually recorded a video. It's basically the do's and don'ts of collecting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's
That's
the do's
gonna
and
be awesome.
don'ts of collecting. It's basically my top 5 do's and don'ts of collecting, just to kind of because I was kind of inspired by like a lot of new collectors that are actually new to the game. What they should know about FOMO, what they should basically for them, how I think that they should just rely on what they love and not what someone's telling them to get.
Yeah.
We don't want to.
Amen, brother.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
So I kind of did. It's like a good 9-minute video on that. So that'd be up probably tomorrow as well.
It's number 1. Don't beat your meat around the figures.
Yeah.
I lost sponsorship because of my last
What?
live stream.
What do you mean?
Toys Wonderland pulled their sponsorship from me.
Oh,
I thought you meant like you were beating your meat. That's why they.
No, they said, I don't know why they did that.
I can't believe they would pull your sponsorship like that. They're the most legitimate company I've ever seen.
I put them in a good light, but I don't know why.
Yeah, you do. You did.
They won't respond to my emails. And
I couldn't see you not putting a company in a good light. It's not possible.
Well, I mean, Star Ace is still alive because of optical.
barely,
Yeah, right.
barely.
He's putting them on his shoulders. You're carrying them. You're the Andy Dalton of Star Ace.
Wait, is there anybody? Can I ask you? Is there anybody else doing Star Ace reviews besides you?
There is this other guy, the guy that I showed you guys the other day. He's pretty. I forgot his name. he has like 300,000 subscribers. I forgot his name. Review Box and
Oh, Review Spot.
Review Spot.
yeah.
Oh,
I thought you were going to say Justin's Collection.
No, Review Spot. Review Spot did it.
He doesn't do
Yeah.
Star Ace.
There's Star Ace. Well,
Okay.
at least, yeah, Star Ace.
Not all
is-
people has class, So
Star Ace is just a class
I was just-
personified.
pure class personified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, I mean, Optical, like I said, open up maybe your eyes to some Last Jedi figures because those Praetorian guards are pretty sick.
Yeah, I'll look into it and then I won't. So
Yeah, you won't. They're also kind of expensive now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's
also,
been fun.
Sunday.
Yeah, sorry, PJ, go ahead.
Sorry, Sunday. We got lots to talk about.
Are we doing it? We're doing Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday, and then next week it's Memorial Day weekend, so we won't. Do
Okay,
it
gotcha.
So any sneak peeks on Sunday's conversation?
Oh. Last of Us? We got to talk about it.
Last of Us, maybe some Star Wars statues. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
we're gonna
maybe.
get
sounds
into it
juicy.
again with somebody else. No, okay.
I can't believe Prime One's doing Last of Us. That made my whole night.
Maybe,
Besides
yeah.
hanging out with you guys, of course. But
Yeah, we definitely have to talk about Abby, the new Abby statue that's announced by.
dude, if
Prime.
they do one Last of Us statue and it's Abby, I'll kill myself. I'll die.
I'll do that's that's day one for me.
I
I just want like.
See, Optical knows better. Now I'll do that. But all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. This has been so much fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. It's always a blast.
Thanks,
I'm glad
guys.
we were able to talk about an amazing film, The Force
Oh
Awakens.
God, no.
8.5, 9 out of 10 for you guys. I'm going 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, baby. Sponsors, Michaels. And then, yeah, it's been fun. All right, guys. No, any final words you have?
Salam Puss. When you want to feel hot, just slap it in there. Woo. Tiger Balm.
All right.
Don't beat your meat
I think we
around.
should end it ASAP.
Don't beat your meat around us.
All right, guys. See ya. Thanks for hanging out.
Beat your meat at night.